There we go. Desktop audio, NT1. Yep. Thank you, Isaac. There's no sound, buddy. You're cooked. Justice 907 and Isaac, thank you both. I bet you're hearing it right now, aren't you? It's a stupid... I haven't made videos in a long time, but I did make a video the other day or something, and I totally forgot to reset it to stream settings. Man. But thank you for letting me know. I greatly appreciate that. And I think I've got it fixed, but let me know if I didn't. But I think you should be hearing it nice and clear right now. Way better. Thank you. That makes me cringe if I go back, because there have been times, because a lot of the folks, this channel like got started, well, not that it got started, but a lot of the content was, and let me know if it's too loud, fellas. Let me know if it's too loud. But I think most of the time it's probably all right. But yeah, there were a lot of people that play the Elder Scrolls Legends game, which is what I started doing this channel. Well, not, again, didn't start the channel, but started doing a lot of streaming with. And they don't care if there's audio or not. And so they wouldn't let me know, they wouldn't remind me. And so I'd get through the entire video and I'd go back and I'd try to like look for it. Thank you, Justice. I appreciate that. I genuinely appreciate that. And heck, man, if that's all I got to do is turn the sound back on, I'll just start every stream with the sound off. I'll just turn it on and see what happens. But no, it's very painful, because to me, the video game ambiance, even if it's not, you know, super loud, it is a soundtrack to the commentary. It's a soundtrack to the interaction, and to not have it is, it makes me, I don't feel great about it. So you have saved me from a horrible stream, at least in that respect. We need to get to 1K. That's my hope, Justice. It's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You know, you gain a couple subscribers, and the crazy thing is there's really no feedback on it, which is fine. It's not required, but it like over the weekend, I got 2 and I lost 1. I don't know why the 2 subscribed, and I don't know why the 1 left, but I wasn't doing anything really on the weekend content wise, so I never know. But yeah, it's yeah. That little bit of insecurity creeps in at some point where you go, okay, you see a lot of other channels out there, they're kind of doing the same thing, maybe a little bit longer. Like, this channel's been around a long time, but I haven't been doing this kind of content for very long. But I'll look at that and go, wow, they've got, you know, and again, there's nothing wrong with the channel. The channel's good, but I'm like, I don't know that I'm doing anything that different, and they're at, you know, at least 1,500, which that's not life-changing type, you know, channel size, but it's still in that magic zone, you know, that 1,000 views. Anyway, and so I'm like, okay, well, do I just really suck at it? And I could, because I'm not the best gamer. I'm a tenacious gamer. And against a computer, like I'm actually tempted at this point. I'll be doing Battletoads later on at 3 o'clock, which is my generation's Elden Ring. But somebody suggested doing Elden Ring. I'd have to either run it on Steam or get a PlayStation for it. But I thought about doing that, like testing my metal, like see how much if I can persevere long enough to get through it. Because like Borderlands 2 is that fun game. If you're playing against a computer, it's you don't even have to be that. You don't have to persevere that much. It's not a stopping your tracks game. It's a fun game. It's a fun game, which is what most games are. But some of them are grindy. What are all the games you play? Justice right now. So I don't know if it's up there or not. I just started a membership thing to help give people a chance to inform that exact thing. So right now, my scope of what I play is it's a lot of retro. I've been going through like the Nintendo hard stuff, Contra, Castlevania, and Ninja Gaiden were the latest ones that I did. But like Borderlands, really anything, honestly, anything. I am heavy on Nintendo. Right now, every system I have except for one, I pretty much got every Nintendo system from conception to now. So a lot of games for those. But I do have an Xbox One, again, very, very old, that I can play stuff like Call of Duty or what have you on, Shadows of Mordor. But honestly, I just kind of enjoy playing a variety of games, so it's whatever tickles my fancy. But if people have requested games, and I try to accommodate that. So if you're like, hey, I'd really like to see this particular game, as long as I can get my hands on it, I'll be happy to play it. So like right now, the channel, the streaming began with Elder Scrolls Legends, which is a collectible card game similar to Hearthstone and Magic the Gathering. It is going to be going out of print, if you will, going into obsolescence. It's gone January 30th of next year. So I have started looking both for myself and for other people in the community, looking for other CCGs to play. And I've kind of personally, I'm not saying definitively, but I've kind of settled on Magic the Gathering. So at least one video a week, one stream is going to be Magic the Gathering. So that's one genre. Right now, I think it shows in my. You should give Rust a try. It's a fun game. I've heard about Rust. Is that like Ark? It's kind of an open world, kind of do what you want to do and build a base kind of deal and protect it. Is that right? Because I've heard that name kicked around before. It is in a way. Okay. And I'm guessing it's for Steam? Or it's available on Steam at least? Rust. Rust on Steam, okay. Looks like it might be newer than Ark. At least what I'm seeing from the graphics. Okay. So... Okay, interesting. So post-apocalyptic, the only aim in Rust is to survive. Everything wants you to die. The island's wildlife and other inhabitants, the environment, other survivors, do whatever it takes to last another night. So I'm guessing it's open world, like it's okay, yeah, PvP. So there are humans trying to kill you, and the game is trying to kill you too. Okay. I mean, honestly, I liked Skyrim, and honestly, most of what I wasn't necessarily big on the story of Skyrim. It's actually super old. Really? Dang it, what was the release date? Oh, like I said, I think compared to what I've seen for Ark, because I have played Ark with some friends on a different platform. When would this come out? Because I'm trying to think, are we talking really old? Because Borderlands 2 is super old. This is a 2010, 2012 game. So you're talking almost 13, 14 years old. So I'd be surprised if Rust was older than that. It doesn't look like it could be older than Skyrim. Early access in 2013. Okay, so right around Skyrim. Full release in February of 2018. Okay. So it is old, but not ancient. It's changed a lot over time, though it's an online game. The only bad part of there isn't a story mode, which is I think okay, as long as the rest of it is compelling enough. If you genuinely have things that are trying to kill you, and you're winning if you're surviving, there is an appeal to that, because that's kind of my favorite part of Skyrim. Now I do like having side missions. XP is a big deal for me. That's part of why Borderlands I got into it so much, was because it has the RPG elements to it. So if Rust doesn't really have a level up type deal, it might not be quite as addicting. At least for me, because for me that progress of some kind. I don't have to be necessarily completing a overall quest, but I need to feel like my character is progressing to some degree. But that may be just, okay, I started off buck naked and, with a toothpick, and now I'm, I've got my own palace and, a cannon mounted to my shoulder kind of thing. I've seen a YouTube video of how Rust started, and it was first released early in 2013. It's definitely a super grindy game, though. Okay. So, Justice, let me ask you, because this is a learning experience for me. So, what about it? Like, what do you like versus any other game? Like, if I were to say, hey, Justice, you get to determine what I stream tomorrow. I'm not saying that that's hypothetical. I mean, it could be true. Like, that's why I kind of have like the membership things to say, okay, if you're bought into some degree, and you want to say, hey, I'd like you to play this game. But the question is, like, what about that is more appealing to watch than, say, something that does have a story? Is it just the fact that anything can happen? And so you may have seen playthroughs of 25 other games that have a main story, and you're looking for content. You're looking for something where you don't know what's going to happen. You have no clue. Is that the appeal? Because when you say grindy game, to me that almost makes it sound like it would be very slow moving. So not a lot of action or a little bit of action. Then you get your butt kicked, and then you go back to it. Whereas, like, I've seen people, like other channels, people will say they want to see him play like a game like Elden Ring because they just want to see him get their crap kicked out of them and see how well they survive. So, like, I'm like, okay, but I understand that. There is some kind of entertainment in other people's hardships. But when I see grindy as a word, I do think of it as kind of like a slow, like, almost agonizing, just kind of like, all right, you're just really trying to, you're not making a lot of progress. So I'm just as curious, as a suggestion, what is it about that would appeal to you as somebody who's watching it? Is it just the unpredictability of it? Is it or just maybe the genre? Because there are people like, there's channels out there I've seen where it's literally just a guy who's like, I'm going out into the wilderness and I got a little bit of food for the day, and it's just going to be me finding shelter and camping out for the night. And people love it, and I actually love it. I don't know what that's called. Maybe just survival, realistic survival, or whatever. But it's kind of fun to watch people just going through what's very, very basic and very normal stuff that we do, like eating. But when you're doing it in an adverse environment, and your creature comforts are not guaranteed, it's kind of a fun deal. So yeah, I just want to understand, because I was playing Final Fight the other day, which honestly to me is just, yeah, I like beat 'em ups. I played Shredder's Revenge and Streets of Rage 4, and there was another game that actually another friend recommended that I picked up. I can't even remember what it's called now. But we'll be playing that probably next week as well. Katana Zero was another one that I played. There's definitely a lot of action depending on what servers you go onto, because there are servers with up to 500 players, but your progress starts over every month. Oh, interesting. Should watch something on it. I'm horrible at explaining things. Oh, no, that's fine. So, Justice, it wasn't so much of like, but you're going, if I'm going to give somebody my eyes and ears for an hour or two, I want to see this. That's what I'm looking for. So it's not even describing the game necessarily, but you're like, I just want to see unpredictable stuff. I just like survival. Like I said, because I'm with you. I haven't watched gameplay on it, but I do watch real life survivalist type stuff. And I mean, it's not. I mean, there is some risk there. Obviously, if you're seeing the video, you know they survived. But it's not the life and death that I'm interested in. It's seeing how they keep warm. It's seeing how they, how they make their shelter, how they find a place where they're actually gonna be able to sleep. And of course, there is the tangential aspect of it that a lot of people I don't know really appreciate, but just how freaking hard it can be to shoot a video while you're also trying to scrounge for food, or, well, they usually bring their food, but like, there from a video making standpoint, there's a lot of interesting stuff that goes as well. I'm watching guys make shelters in snowstorms or in snow, condensation on lenses, trying to get good audio when you've got the wind howling around you. Like there's a lot of stuff, a lot of things that go into those kind of videos. So I can understand if you were to say it's just a survival thing. I like seeing, like a way. Now when you say, okay, so I'll watch. I won't ask you to describe it anymore. But when you say like it resets every month, your progress starts over every month. I mean, it sounds like anything you build is gone. Anything you create is gone. You start with a rock and a torch. Okay, so I was close. When I said a toothpick, I wasn't that far off. Start with a rock and a torch and have to work your way to guns and a big base. So basically, in one stream, you could go from naked with nothing to guns at a full base. Okay. All right. And of course, initially, though, we will probably go from rock and a torch to a rock attached to a stick and a torch for the first playthrough, or not the first playthrough, but like the first day or two of it. Because I will say this, Justice, when I part of my experience with Ark, like my friends love it, but for me it was like I got there, I'm naked, I get eaten alive by these itty bitty little dinosaurs, these baby velociraptor type things, over and over and over again. I've got no idea where to go. I've got no idea what to do. Like the interface isn't intuitive. You're like, and then they're like, oh, you can freeze food or put food in a storage thing, and then you have it to eat, and then you need to eat in order to stay nourished, and then like some of the stuff is like, okay, I get that I need to eat, but if you eat the meat raw, you get, salmonella or something. So you need to cook the meat. Okay, that's not crazy, but how to cook it? Because it's like open world, but it's not literally, okay, I can strike, these two things together, create a spark, and create a fire. In real life, you could do something like that. In the game, you've got to do certain things in order to create a fire, but it doesn't tell you how to create a fire. But it's definitely an unpredictable game because of the other people on the island you're trying to survive with, or survive against, right? I'm guessing, Justice, there's an element of Lord of the Flies in it, where you've got people on there that are willing to help you out, maybe, that are there just, hey, you do your thing, I'll do mine, stay away. And then you got people like Jack and his nefarious minions from that book, who are just trying to kill you and trying to usurp. You were able to make a campfire with wood and stone and rust. Nice. Okay. I mean, it definitely is something I would consider doing. I tried at this point where I'm not getting a ton of suggestions. I try to take it. Now, my problem is, or the issue that I have is, like, I feel bad if I start something and I go, it's not really for me. But at the same time, like, you don't want to watch somebody just kind of limp through a game. At the same time, you don't want somebody just bailing on a game. So I'll say this: I'm willing to give it a shot, and if we can find a day where, like, because I'm guessing you play it or you have played it, so it does help me if the person who asks for the game or wants to see it is actually kind of there to help me along a little bit. I did that with Majora's Mask. Actually, no, I didn't, because I wasn't streaming back then. So I tried to play Majora's Mask because somebody requested it. But it's also not an intuitive game. It's got a lot of hanky-janky stuff. So I would get comments after I post the video saying, oh, you could have done this, or, oh, you really need to try to do this. It's not as good or quite there as having live feedback and going, okay, yeah, no, you need to try to go here, or the main thing you want to try is this. So that does help the longevity of it. Like, I don't want somebody to necessarily hold my hand through it all, but if I'm completely lost and going, okay, I'm still naked, somebody stole my rock, and I sat on my stick. Is there a med pack? Is there some way I can heal myself? Because I'm pretty sure I'm just dead here. Yeah, people help you out, but very rarely. I won't lie, the Rust community is very toxic. Okay, Justice, you're not selling this. You're like, it's grindy. The community is toxic. People hate you. I mean, hey, adversity sells. I get that. I 100% get that. Oh, there is a console edition, but yeah, it's probably not on Switch, which is, again, the main console I have. PlayStation 4. I wonder if, can you play PlayStation 4 games on a PlayStation 5? I got a friend trying to convince me to buy a PlayStation 5 because there's a Black Friday sale coming up and it's like $375. But I'm like, I don't, there's no games on PlayStation that I want to play, really. There's the Astro Bot, I think, which looked really cool. Because I'm like, I'm old school. I grew up with Mario. So I typically like games that are colorful, that are fun, that are, vibrant, exciting, and good controls. Astro Bot looks really fun. PlayStation 5, there's really no other games I can think of. He wants me to get it so we can play Cold War Zombies together, which we can play on the Xbox One. Although I think it is dying. I think my Xbox One is in its death throes. I told him, hey, if it craps out, I'll buy a new system. But like, if I could play Rust on PlayStation 5, that might make it worthwhile. It's got great reviews. It seems to be very, very popular. I would definitely be able to help out with that. It would be cool to help out, but I don't have a PC anymore, so I play on console. Okay, what do you play it on, Justice? Because that would, like I said, because I am this computer. I had it, a friend slash, well, he had a business. He doesn't do it anymore, but a friend slash business, a friend who has a business building PCs. I had him build one that wasn't going to break the bank, but that would, as I said, allow me to edit and do basic streaming. But I am leery about games that would tax the system on their own and then try to stream it. Whereas if I'm playing from a console, like you're saying, that makes it a little bit easier. It doesn't tax the system as much. Okay, PS5. Okay, all right. That may. If you play Rust, though, I would definitely get a next-gen console. Runs horrible on PS4 regular. Okay. All right, so yeah, that would kind of. Yeah, that would be another plus, because I also can't play Elden Ring. I wouldn't want to play it on Steam. So if I were to get a PS5, I'd be able to play Rust and Elden Ring if people were asking for that. I've only had one person suggest it. And as I said, as somebody who likes rich, vibrant atmosphere and an aesthetic, Elden Ring is the anti-me. But just for the level of difficulty alone. But from what I understand, it's not even that compared to Demon Souls or Dark Souls. It's not even that hard. I mean, it runs on PS4, but it's not enjoyable. Right. Yeah, well, I wouldn't at this point. I wouldn't buy a PS4 anyway. But like I said, I've had kind of PS5 on the radar, and it is again, under $400. That to me is that's about what I paid for the Switch. So that's in my wheel. I'm not paying $700, for a game system. But yeah, okay. All right, so I might look into that then. I'd have to reconfigure my setup here. But then there's also then you've got the other aspect. Okay. Yeah, it's a little it gets a little weird. That Black Friday sale is a good deal. I would go for it. I paid $500 for my PS5 when it first came out. That's not bad though, Justice. I mean, that's it's $125 cheaper all this time later. I mean, how long ago did that come out? And those were really hard to get at the time. Like, if you weren't getting scalped, which if you were paying $500, you didn't get scalped, as far as I know. That was retail, right? Like, that's not bad. That's now obviously they did just release, I think, something that has all this extra horsepower apparently, which I'm pretty sure that all they're doing is unlocking the actual full potential of it. I don't think they actually developed anything new for the PS5. I'm not saying they didn't necessarily, but my experience has been, I mean, look at that thing. These guys are, what are they, level, okay, they're 29. Never mind, they're underpowered. Never mind. I was going to say, but just look at the unkempt tail, just shredding these guys, because it's the best game in the world. I love it. Even harder because I live in Alaska. Oh my gosh! Nice, Justice. I actually know one other person who lives in Alaska. He sent me some pictures of it. It's gorgeous out there, man. Now, do you live, isn't there a part in Alaska where it's either perpetually day or perpetually night? Or is that a seasonal thing? And are you in that area? Because he lives in Norway. Well, one of my friends lives in Norway, and they have certain parts of Norway that are perpetually day and night. But I'm trying to remember, who is it? Nut bunnies. Oh, yep. Can't remember his name now. Dagnabbit. But he sent me pictures because he actually went on a hunt. Giant freaking elk. Just antlers the size of spears. It's just ridiculous.
You get close to the entrance to Flame Rock Refuge, but suddenly...
But anyway, it's gorgeous out there, from what I understand. And I had a friend went on a cruise, and he's like, he went to Ireland, he went to Scotland. I don't know about New Zealand. He went on a couple cruises that took him everywhere. Alaska is the one he would say he would do again. In the summer, we have 22 hours of light. Oh my gosh. And in winter, about 4 to 6 hours if we're lucky. Wow. Those are extremes. Jeez Louise. So your fall and spring, I guess, are a little more normal-esque, but when you get into the extremes, that then you're. Wow, that's amazing. Now, are you born and raised in Alaska? And the hunt was probably a caribou. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, you're probably right. Yeah, because he didn't say. He just showed me the picture. But yeah, you're okay. That's probably right then. To be honest, I probably would not know a caribou from an elk. I just know the wingspan, the antler on the thing was ginormous. What do they call it? The points? I think it was like was it 6 point? I think he told me. I have the email. Let me see.
And his name is Mr. Bony Pants Guy?
I love this expansion, by the way. This is the best Borderlands expansion. I would say between the next one would be Zombie Island of Dr. Ned, but this is far and away the best one, I think. All right, let me see. What's it here? I don't know. I guess it's not terribly important, but yeah, the bottom line is but he showed me like the wilderness, like he showed pictures of just like the wilderness and everything, and just it looks absolutely gorgeous. Yes, sir. Born and raised. Nice. See, I feel like that because a lot of people are like, "Oh yeah, I was born here." I'm like, okay, so, everybody takes pride in where they're born, or typically they do, but I feel like Alaska, especially when you have a situation like that where you're dealing with something that if somebody were to move, like if I were to move to Alaska, there would be a huge adjustment period, getting used to winters where you're awake, or no, sorry, summer where you're having to wear use blackout curtains and all that kind of stuff, in wintertime where you're scrounging for hours in the day. So I think that's one of probably the few places where legitimately being born and raised there is a huge advantage. Whereas like, okay, I moved to New Jersey, which isn't New York, but Newark, New Jersey is a pretty rough place, especially considering where I grew up. And it took me about a week to adjust to, okay, lots of potholes, a few more a-holes, perhaps, than I'm used to in a square footage. 5 guys tried to kill me when I stopped at 11 o'clock at night to try to help get a drunk guy out of the road. And I don't mean that like they almost ran me over. They got out of their cars and were like, I don't know if they were just going to beat the crap out of me and take my car or just outright kill me, but luckily a federal police officer showed up right about the time they started surrounding me and bailed me out. And then he said, "You don't get out of your car. In this neighborhood, this time of night, you do not get out of your car no matter what. You just drive yourself home. Otherwise, you're going to be a statistic." And I'm like, okay, good to know. So yeah, mild adaptations like that. But like Alaska, it sounds like it's... And the fact that you're isolated, like you were saying, obviously their goods and services are going to be a little harder to come by. So how did you manage to land a PS5? Did you get it when it was like all the rage? And it was the chip shortage made it very difficult. Like how did you get in line for that? Definitely beautiful here, but the winters are wild. Oh my gosh, 10 degrees. You think there are potholes for the potholes? Really? What? I mean, okay. To be fair, Justice, I feel like there's an excuse. Oh, well, I don't know. I went to bed. Oh man, you just ruined the mystique, Justice. Like, in my mind, now this isn't 100% accurate, but like, well, I know it's not truly accurate, but in my mind, like, the snow and ice eat the roads up. Isaac, are you also in Alaska? But yeah, that is true. Yeah, I guess anywhere that you're gonna have a plethora of snow and ice, you're gonna have potholes because it just shrinks, expands, blows it up. But like New Jersey isn't all that different from Virginia. I mean, it may be a little bit colder, but like we got potholes in Virginia, but most of them are covered up. You're not going to hit one where you hit it and you feel like your axle just snapped in half. That said, Indiana was very much like that. There were roads, especially after about a week of snow. Now here I'm just taunting this guy. I'm doing the villain thing from like Dragon Ball Z, where I'm like, "You're not nearly powerful enough to challenge me. I'll let you power up a little bit." So if you don't pull the sword out of the guy, he just levels up and levels up. So I'm trying to get some good XP from him. And I'm getting a little cocky. I got my bee shield. I got my whatever. Okay, so give me the skeleton. Still no problem. I'm just gonna keep going until he actually becomes a challenge. I think. I'm like, come on, dude. Don't even come back. You're wasting your time. I'm far too formidable. Some potholes, if you hit them, you might not have a tire. Yeah. Oh wow. Oh nice. Okay. Now is this just serendipity, or are you gentlemen friends? I mean, I know that sounds ridiculous to ask, but you kind of. I saw you both at the same time, and yeah. Which is cool. I'm just curious. Is it just random? Like two people from Alaska happen to be watching the same stream at the same time and don't know each other? But yeah, I've hit some of those potholes. Oh my gosh. By the way, we don't live in villages. We have. That's what I'm saying. So Justice, that's what I'm saying. So I know in my brain, in my actual brain, I know Alaska is not just the overall drone shot of wilderness, mountains, evergreen trees, and a small but very probably expensive, cabin or something. But the part of me that doesn't necessarily engage the common sense of my brain has Alaska as this. Like I put it this way, I cannot picture a Best Buy in Alaska, even though I know there has to be one. I don't picture Best Buy. I don't picture Walmart. Like, you guys don't have those. You have these wooden structures. Like, you have your general stores, the ma and pa general stores. You go in there, like Sears, back in the day. You go in there and say, hey, you get that latest shipment of PlayStations? He says, well, we got one. A bear ate the other one. But I do have one here. It's been chewed by a mongoose on the corners. I'll give you a discount there. Knock it down to $4.95. But of course, the store owner, because everybody in Alaska knows everybody. It's that small. Everybody knows everybody. So you'd say, oh, come on, Johnny. I know you can do better than that. You told me before your markup on this thing is 25%. Come on, take another 10 off. That mongoose really got the box, and I'm a collector here. He's like, oh, man, you drive a hard bargain. Sure enough. I don't know why they all have a southern accent in Alaska. We're buddies. He put me on your stream. Oh, fantastic. Well, thank you, Isaac. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. And thank you, Justice, for listening to him. And I just appreciate you gentlemen here, because the whole reason because I was doing Borderlands 2 playthrough as a video series, like the first 20 episodes. I switched it over to stream specifically for this, because I was like, you know what? If I'm not actually playing, if I'm not doing stream of conscious, like, where I'm actually reacting to what's happening live because it's actually happening to me, I was like, I might as well have conversations with folks. Instead of me just monologuing, I'd like to talk to people. If y'all hadn't showed up, I'd just be monologuing again, which defeats the whole purpose. So thank you very much. But yeah, no, I like I said, yeah, it's funny. We don't have mongoose. I honestly, I'd have to look it up. I don't think mongoose was what I was actually trying to say. And I don't even think they actually eat PlayStation 5 boxes. Mongoose.
Stop playing this game.
No, okay, that's not what I'm thinking. What am I thinking? It's not Wolverine either. What am I thinking of? Not a kangaroo. What was I? There's got to be some critter out there. Moose. Okay. I was close though. Come on, mongoose and moose. They sound very similar. They have an approximate rhyme to them. Not approximate. It's a direct rhyme. They actually rhyme. But is it Juneau? Is Juneau the big city out there? Like if you wanted to have a taste of, I guess, quote unquote normal stateside life, you'd go to like Juneau, Anchorage maybe. We do have Wolverine. You do have, okay. I thought Wolverine, but I was like, no, that's ridiculous. But all I mean by that is like the animal. You got the comic book character, which is like a badass. The Wolverine, okay, the Wolverine visually is what I was thinking of. Badger maybe would have been another one. Yeah, exactly. Yep. I just remember when I saw Wolverine, I was like, it looks like a bear had sex with a cat. Not exactly the... Is it Honey Badger that I'm thinking of? Is the really wicked looking thing? Maybe not. Okay, they look pissed off. They look very angry. Honey Badgers do. Actually, they look like skunks.
So where'd she go?
Wow, I did not realize that. Honey badger looks like a skunk, but a very pissed off skunk, like a skunk that pissed on itself. Like if you were a skunk and you tried to put your spray on something and it got knocked back at you, I feel like that's the disposition of a mongoose. Stateside life would definitely be Anchorage or Wasilla. We have mink and ermine too. Mink. See, I got to put names with faces here. Okay. To be fair, that's pretty darn close to what the mongoose image that I saw was. So you do have mongoose-esque like creatures, just not actually mongoose. So my odds of naming a creature that doesn't exist in Alaska was actually pretty small, but somehow I managed to thread that needle. I'm just impressed you guys know an ermine. I've never even heard of an ermine. Oh, so it's just albino. Well, albino would be red eyes, I guess, but a white version of. They look kind of cute. Do you guys domesticate those? Are they pure wild, or can you actually? They look really cute. When they stand up with their little hind leg. Look at that little guy. I mean, look at this little guy. Look at it. Okay, never mind. Look how cute that is. It's just a little cute guy. I mean, they're kind of slinky looking. They kind of look like, what do we have, ferrets? They're probably all the same family. Now ferrets are, yeah, they're a little uglier. A little scrawnier. Look like,
Nobody's technically allowed in the forest since the world went dark, but the gatekeeper...
those are,
Just tell him I sent you.
Ferrets are a poor man's Wolverine. Or ermine. Mink. Poor man's mink. But it's impressive that you guys know your wildlife. I mean, I guess maybe because, well, first of all, you live there that long. Or you've born and raised there. And I guess because a lot of it is wilderness and stuff, like here, people could probably say, yeah, we got squirrels. But decide definitively? Not, like, I know Colorado has chipmunks because I remember going on hikes and being like, what the crap is that? Oh, that's a chipmunk. And then, therefore, I know I really didn't see any chipmunks in Virginia. So they may exist there, but I don't see them. Same thing, I mean, in theory, we've got some pretty wicked, like, rattlesnakes out here in Texas, but I haven't seen any of them. But that's to be fair to Alaska, my picture, my stereotypical picture of mental image of Texas was a cactus and a tumbleweed. So living somewhere where we've got grass all over the place and trees, not the most lush forest, but trees nonetheless.
Okay, the gatekeeper is now.
So let me ask you guys, like, and you may not be of the age, I don't know, I'm not trying to, can't assume one way or the other, but like, what do people do out there for a living? I mean, obviously you still have photographers, you have basic stuff, but I mean, it's. That's a dumb question. Because I lived in Maine for 6 months, and that's probably wilderness-wise. It's probably kind of the same thing. But it's like, but really, that was kind of the problem. You either worked for the shipyard, which was like 70% of the jobs, in some form or other. You worked at the shipyard, or you worked in retail, or a lumber yard. Like there weren't a lot of like hefty profession type things. Ptarmigan is also a good tasting bird for hunting. Tastes like chicken. Oh, nice. So is hunting kind of ubiquitous there? This is all based off of my either stereotype or naivety of just thinking it as you all are still living technically kind of in a wilderness. It's just wilderness that's been developed in certain ways. So like, here you might, one out of, well, not here in Texas, but like Virginia, I feel like maybe 1 out of 2,000 people that I met hunt. But so far, I'm 2 for 2 with people that I know that live in Alaska that also hunt. Oil industry is huge. Ah, okay. Let's see. Honestly, everything this is definitely a money-making state. Yeah, I didn't really, honestly, Justice. I'm bad with geography in general. Like, I know where Alaska is, but like in terms of economies and things, it's never really been on my radar. So the only part that I interact with the only time I interact with the economy or know anything about it, even locally, is if the job I have requires it or is impacted by it. So yeah, I'm guessing I should have known that.
So it's hard to find and ultimately disappointing.
Okay, so you got people that do a lot of refinery, a lot of drilling
Adventurer, it's
type
a
jobs.
pleasant mind, but these idiots can't take a hint. Could you throw them out for me? Don't be afraid to get rough.
Hunting is decently big, probably 50-50 for people who
Thank
do it. Fishing is bigger. More people do that. Okay. Commercial fishing also big. Nice. I'll tell you, if I didn't get seasick, I might actually look, because I think maybe not in Alaska, and this could be a misconception on my part, but I thought I remember hearing like boats that go out crabbing or go out like deep sea fishing or whatever. You know, you're out for a long time, and it's very brutal and very difficult, but also pays pretty well. I don't know if that's true or not, but unfortunately, I would have to be popping Dramamine like it's my job, because I do get seasick pretty easy. Now, not like I can do whitewater rafting. We did that in West Virginia. Whitewater rafting is awesome. So if it's short and it's really rocking, not a bad thing. I haven't been on a cruise. I'm guessing if it's a big enough cruise liner, I probably wouldn't get it sick either. But that gentle rolling, perpetual rolling on the sea, that would just, oof. Let's see, commercial fishing. Let's see, if you've ever heard of Bering Sea fishing, I have not. Bering Sea fishing, is that? It's not capitalized, so it's not a brand, right? Bering Sea fishing. Oh gosh, the crabs are uglier than, like, even for a crab, that's an ugly crab. Look at this. Look at that. Who the heck? What? She's got more gumption than I do. I would not put my hand on something like that. It's nothing but a big spiky thing that looks like it crawled out of hell. Oh. Okay, just take it back. I'm glad I get seasick. I'm glad I have an excuse as to why I can't. But yeah, I'm looking at some of these images. Yeah. Okay. I'm off. I thought I had it bad in the lumberyard. That looks infinitely worse. Oh. Sea cod? Even the cod looks terrifying. I don't know. I tell you what, man. The sea creates the ocean, the water. I mean, look at that. Look at that ugly. I'm not talking about the gal. I'm talking about the fish.
Get him out of our way. All right, fair enough. Okay, Mr. Torg, I banish you to the stocks.
I don't judge people who love the sea, which sounds like a stupid thing to say, but like I don't say this in a judgmental way, but I don't know how people love the ocean. It's a giant toilet bowl. Everything defecates into it directly, and it's just floating around. You know, obviously you got crabs and stuff that eat that stuff, and then we eat the crabs. It's a really ugly circle of life. Not gonna lie. Yeah, crabs and lobster. I do know there was a time where those were considered to be the food of poor people, because they're scavengers. They you are what you eat. They eat nothing but crap and decaying flesh.
Okay, good point.
But yeah, somehow we made that a thing where it's like, oh, it's a lobster. It's $40 to eat something that eats crap for a living, for its job. That's what it does. Its job is to clean up the bottom of the ocean. But anyway, we still have all the other normal jobs, but those are the money making ones. Seriously, man, that's. But I mean, it's like, some of the most terrible. Like, a black bear is dangerous as heck, but it's cute. Or it's at least, I mean, it's fuzzy, it's furry. I mean, the babies are cute. The adults are not cute, but they're like you don't look at it and go, that's terrifying. Now, when it's growling or it's got its mouth open, okay, yeah, you go. And if you're in proximity, you're scared. But if you just look at it, it doesn't look scary. Lions, same thing. They just look like big kitties. Look at a kitty with the puffy mane. Some of them. But like things that come out of the ocean, they just look like, if you wanted to make an argument that hell is a real place and it exists somewhere below us, it's kind of like the kaiju from Pacific Rim. Like, hell is actively coming into this world from the ocean. Like, there are creatures down there. The anglerfish, for crying the heck out loud. Look at this thing. Come on, you can't tell me that's. I mean, that might be. Is that actual real? I don't know. I mean, look at these things. Yeah, no, I genuinely believe it's not. You can't tunnel down to hell. You have to go down to the Mariana Trench or whatever that's called. and you will find hell. Satan is wearing a regulator, and I don't know, that's a little ridiculous to think that he can't breathe underwater. But you know, it thinks, you know, what is it? Lost City of Atlantis, Satan falling from heaven. You know, if we want to start mixing genres here, I see a correlation.
Hey, maybe after I kill you, a fern will grow out of your body or something.
Do you know how black bears are more dangerous than grizzly bears and brown bears? Oh yeah. No, that I did. Yes. What is it? Okay, there's a phrase. What is it? You probably know. If it's brown, not flush it down. That's something else. But there's a catchphrase for remembering how to deal with the different bears. Like if it's a black bear, but when one of them ultimately is just kiss your butt goodbye. But it rhymes with the different bear names. So like grizzly, make it fizzly or something. Like one of them you're supposed to run from. One of them you're supposed to just stay motionless from. One of them I think maybe you're supposed to make yourself. Oh, polar bear was the one you're just dead. But I think black bear, I think there is a way. It's not a guarantee, but there's a right way and a wrong way to deal with each kind of bear. Like one of them you play dead. One of them you genuinely play dead. But if you play dead with the wrong one, it'll just maul you while you're laying there. But one of them likes to have a fight. And if it thinks you're just done, it's not going to mess with you. And then there's other ones that, I don't know. But yeah, black bears are the worst. That I have heard. Well, aside from polar bears, I heard polar bears are very, not aggressive, but they're incredibly dangerous. If it's brown, yeah, there you go. Here we go. If it's brown, get down. So brown is play dead. Black bear, but you want to get as big as possible if it's a black bear. Okay. If it's black, fight back, maybe? I don't know. If it's brown, lay down. If it's black, fight back. Okay, there you go. If it's black, fight back. Which, I mean, to be honest, like, I would never want to have to make this choice, but if you said, okay, you can either be in a enclosed place in the forest with a black bear, or you can be that is hungry. Well, I guess in either of these cases, if it's hungry, you're just dead. But like, I feel like you at least it's probably all in my head because those things are huge. But like, because their mouths aren't ginormous and their claws are kind of buried under their fur, they don't. If you look at a black bear, you're going, okay, like. If you don't have common sense, it's stupid. But if you look at it and go, okay, but just from a visually intimidating perspective, until they rear up and the claws go and they go, roar, do that whole thing where their jaw does this, whatever, and the saliva flies out. They don't look all that scary. But contrast that with a tank of water with a great white shark in it, where it's just nothing but a giant, ugly, terrifying mouth. Where it's like, I can't punch that. I can't grapple with that. What am I gonna do? Like, and especially you're in the water, so you're like, roar. But even if you're somehow able to be treading water and the thing comes up at you, you got nothing. Whereas at least a bear, I feel like you have a moment before the thing just cuffs you in the face and pretty much knocks you out. The bear, at least you have the false sense that you might be able to fight it or overpower it somehow. Whereas a shark, you're just like, oh no, I'm just dead. Like, I'm fighting a giant mouth. How am I supposed to win this?
My bad. I'll fix it.
You don't really want to fight back if you don't have to. Oh no, absolutely, Justice. I think that, yeah, it's just for that. I think that's really just saying, don't do what you do with a brown bear. Like, just don't do that. Not so much try to, go fisticuffs, go toe to toe with the thing. Yeah, put up your dukes. I could take you. You like. Because there was a video I was watching, and it was pretty much, yeah, make yourself big, don't back down, but if it decides it's coming for you, you're just done. Like, you are not going to win that fight, period. There's no way. Which really sucks to think of, as a human being that is just, like, without, and even with, I think, firearms, like, what do you guys, when you go hunting, do you have, because you guys have those, I mean, I don't know about how often, but they have to be factored in, right? That you might come across one. Obviously, steer clear is the number one thing. But what do you defend yourself with against a black bear? Does bear spray do it, or do you all carry around like 45s? And even are those adequate? Because there's some animals where it's like, okay, mountain lion. If you got a decent enough hunting rifle, like a basic one, you could probably handle that okay. But a bear, I understand that you shoot them with the small enough weapon, you're just gonna piss them off. But yeah, wild animals, they're just that. They're wild. People who forget that do so at their own peril and often at their own demise. It's not something, that I celebrate or laugh at, but at the same time, what was that phrase? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Like even raising, like there was some people they found like a baby lion, a baby tiger or something, and they raised it. At some point, it doesn't have a domesticated mindset. It's in its blood. It is a hunter. It is a wild animal, and I would be very, very leery. Even if you could have one and it seemed really chill, it just in the back of your head, just going, when is the moment where it just goes, nope, you're not my daddy. Gonna head out for a few. We're gonna go ice fishing. Oh, awesome! Well, so there you go, following through on your as you said, go fishing. And get breakfast. That sounds good. What time zone are you guys in there? Oh, you don't have to answer. If have fun fishing, be safe, navigating all that snow and everything. At least you guys get a real Christmas. That's all I'm gonna say, man. We get no snow here, but you probably are sick of the snow actually, especially if you're getting all ready. We're not even in December yet, but only a month away. 1 month away from Christmas. But anyway, thank you, gentlemen, so much for stopping by. Justice, appreciate the subscription there. It was great having a conversation with you, learning a little bit about Alaska. It sounds like a great place, a place that would just be interesting to adapt to, which is half the fun. But yeah, it's our own time zone, 10:01. All right, Justice, sounds good. Sounds good. 10 o'clock. Oh yeah, so you're 3 hours behind me. Cool. All right. On its own time zone. That's pretty cool, by the way. So yeah. Bon appetit and happy fishing. And I'll see you later. Don't know how you can tear yourself away from this enrapturing gameplay. Oh, and also huge thank you for getting the volume back on. I tell you, that is, I wouldn't even call it a peeve necessarily, but it's a sad thing. The few videos that I've gone back and watched, like, we did not have sound all the whole time. Oh, that's horrible. Like, I'd rather, and it's happened before, I've found that the mix wasn't necessarily the greatest and I couldn't really hear me. Like, you know what? It's about the game, really.
You can't hurt me!
You know, it's interesting, sobering, exciting. Yeah, it's those three things. When you talk to folks who have, I don't know about more life experience, but seems more varied life experience, or you just realize there's so much stuff you haven't done. So what part of that is exciting? Like, wow, like, as long as you have your health, you can experience those things. Now, I'll be honest, grappling with fishes, like, I don't mind the whole catching them part, and the sit around and wait, kind of just chill and talk and think about life and whatever. Like, I don't have a problem with that, especially if it's cold. Like, I don't like sitting out in the heat on a boat. But ice fishing sounds like it would be a pretty fun excursion. And there, look at that. On the ground, we just found a next level bee. This was a charmed playthrough for sure. We got, with minimal farming, we got 2 volcanoes. Oh no, wait, we haven't got the second volcano yet. We do get another volcano. But we have 2 volcanoes, 2 bee shields, 1 that we farmed, 1 that just dropped. Yeah. Pretty cool. But it's like you just realize how big the world is and how much more cool stuff there is to do. Some of the stuff, like I said, so yeah, I'm good with the fishing, like just sitting there and do that. And hey, I got one, I'll pull it up. The whole skinning it and cutting its head off or what all that kind of stuff. That part I'm a little less keen on. In fact, I might actually get queasy. I don't know. I don't handle blood and gore very well. Like that, I remember helping one time with a turkey at Thanksgiving, and my mom's just plunging her hand into the anus cavity, I guess. Or, I mean, it's probably not the anus. It's I don't know what the heck it is, but the cavity, and pulling out the gizzards, and it's like, oh gosh, yeah. So, we all have our strengths and weaknesses. Mine is creature guts and gore. That said, again, sounds like a perfectly cool way to start the day. 10 o'clock, go out ice fishing for a while. Come back in, get warmed up by the fire and all that. I don't know. It sounds cool. But yeah, so it's exciting to know that there's more to life than what you've experienced, even when you're 44 years old, and I'm still like, wow, that seems like a whole other way of living life. Which is cool. But then sobering, because you realize, wow, I've gone 44 years and there's that much I still haven't done yet. And then interesting, because a lot of it, you're just learning that there are different ways to do things, even if you don't necessarily want to do it that way or live that way. But I'll say, as long as you've got as long as you got a PS5, you're not so far removed. Because I've seen very idyllic. In fact, I was a lot of times when I'm playing, like if you play, like I was playing Magic, and even playing this game, like you get in certain places where you just see this environment and it's just really cool looking and maybe otherworldly. And especially when it's like, I'm watching. So I do video editing part-time, and one of the things I'm watching now are like these amazing shots that people have gotten, like flying drones professionally just around the world. So it's these different areas, different countries, and some of them really are, they look like they're on a different planet. They're just nothing I've seen before. Absolutely gorgeous. And I'm like, I would love to live there. I'd love to wake up to that every day. At the same time, I'm like, yeah, we just did a drone fly over there. There's nothing within 100 miles probably of that area. And so it's like, okay, yeah, you could be out there. What are you going to eat? Like, you can't just drive to the store. Even in a day, like you're doing like the Old West kind of thing at that point. The old where they used to hitch up. Now, I say this with a vague understanding of this is how things work. But you'd have to hitch up the wagon. You'd be like, you take care of the homestead. I'll be back in 3 days or whatever. You ride your wagon out a day and a half or so just to get to the nearest market, the nearest trading station. You sell whatever it is that you grow or produce, your cow or whatnot. Buy your supplies from the general store. Day and a half back. Maybe longer if there's bad weather, if the wheel falls off. I mean, anybody who's played the Oregon Trail knows those wagons were made out of crap. Axles were always breaking, wheels falling off, oxen dying for stupid reasons, drowning in the river for crying the heck out loud, dysentery all over the place. Not a good time, but that's kind of what it makes me think of. It's like, okay, even though we have faster means of conveyance. If you're, 6 times further away from the nearest trading store, the nearest town, you still have just as much traveling to do. It's like the idea of just like, okay, I'm going to go grocery shopping. Let me grab we'll pick up, and I'll be back in a couple days or 3 days just to go get food. But then, you got to pay for it somehow. How do you make a living out there? So yeah, there's some really cool places, but there's also a reason why people don't live out there. No, I'm not talking about Alaska. I'm just talking about these really crazy cool looking places all over the world, near waterfalls and really fascinating crop formations. Rock formations.
Oh, where's your birdie? Your little birdie friend.
Tina, we told you what happened to Bloodwing.
So anyway, she's so cute. Where is she?
Let's just play the game, all right?
And see, this is why this is my favorite DLC. Not only because it's got some of the best comedy, I think. Like, we don't do it in this playthrough, unfortunately, because I was just trying to get through the game. I wasn't necessarily just trying to have fun with it, because it's like the 20th time I played it. But like, there's one where you actually have to take on like trolls, like internet trolls. Like you get these guys that come on and you can think of pretty much any game, Call of Duty, whatever, where you have these like quote unquote toxic lobbies. And you've actually got to fight them. And then they have names over them, like usernames that look like something that you would see in an actual game like that. So it's just really... Oh... Sarg. Oh, wait. Was it not? No, it was frozen. This is what... We've only got one more stream like this to... See, it's not the... I might just have to cut it off here and bring it back on. It seems... Yep, it's just locked up. It wasn't too bad, though. We got about halfway through. Yeah, hour and 10 minutes. That's not too bad. It's not great. I continue to be... What are we doing here, game? Well, not even game. This is... Oh, this is a bummer. Something has happened. Somehow. Try to shut it down one more time. It is completely closed out now. So come back online. Like nothing is running. This is all that's running. What in the heck? Oh boy. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right. Nope. This is ridiculous. So I apologize for anybody who is watching. I actually turn off the I see the chat, but I don't actually watch the screen because I want to give the same quality performance, well, not performance, but the same quality deal, whether there's one person watching or 50,000 people watching. So I don't pay attention to that so much. But if anybody is watching, I do apologize that you are having to endure this for the moment. I don't know what's going on. All right. But yeah, this was an unexpected and unfortunate situation. I might have to see about finding another video player, media player, because VLC doesn't work, Windows doesn't work. If I'm running OBS, very few videos play worth a darn. I'm skirting it by using Premiere. But it obviously has its own problems. This, by the way, is a pretty piss poor shotgun. I do it because it looks kind of cool when it shoots off, but it is explosions, and it is a legendary. So I want to get some use out of it, but it is not overall. It's not a great gun. You see? All right. Well, okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's not bad. It's just not great. All right. It's freaking awesome, and I think it only works because we're so overpowered right now. Like I want to use different weapons than just the unkempt heralds, but it's kind of hard when they are just, especially against skeletons. See, the armored skeletons are weak to corrosion, but they're also weak to just getting blasted in the face by a really freaking powerful revolver. So. But yeah, so not only is Borderlands 2 great because of the humor, their incorporation of D&D from a meta perspective, as in you have these situations where we saw at the very beginning where Tina sends in a dragon that just wipes everybody out. It's like you can't do that. So you hear the people talking, and it's transforming your environment and transforming characters on the fly to adjust for the storytelling. I think that was a great concept, a great execution of an idea. They maximize. Like I was playing with Joe the other day, and like I said, I've never played Dark Souls, but he has. And there was a quest that we go on. He's like, "That is very Dark Souls. Like it is exactly like the quest. What they're making a joke about is very Dark Souls." Okay, they're not actually underpowered. They're at our same level. We've just got the best gun in the game, folks. Get down, Immortal Skeletor. Oh, I guess it's like a Minotaur. I was like, why do they call it that? See, we're leaving alive. We're gonna get stronger, Kakarot, and then come at me. Okay, 34. That's. Hey, you think it'd be pretty tough at 34, but it's not. If I remember correctly, though, when it does get big enough, it's a very rude awakening. It's like, oh crap, I actually can't kill this thing. Yeah, this gives you a good idea as well. I don't know that I go as high as I can with it, but it gives you a pretty good idea just how many levels your gun is good for. So yeah, 36. Sorry about that. Even 36 is child's play. 37. How good is this? I mean, he's got great offense, clearly. And I think that's where I leave it, because it's like, wow, he actually almost took me down. Yeah. But I mean, to be fair, like, I didn't even see the XP on that. But yeah, so 37. So at least, well, and the Unkemps were still doing their job. It was just I let myself get hit, and at that power, you know, they're gonna crush me. But our offensive capabilities are still pretty darn high. So at least 37. I would say at least. Unkempt Heroes will probably give you 10 to 12, like dominating performances, or levels worth of dominating performance. So it's still going to feel better than any other gun until you get, until about level 40, 42, somewhere around there, and then it'll be adequate. I've got to remember to make sure that I got the stream set up to do audio for the next one, for Battletoads.
Another dead end. Damn the luck.
I just remembered, this next fight won't work unless Roland's here. We should probably just take a break until Roland shows up.
Stop it. Roland's not.
Ooh, I got an idea. The gatekeeper says...
More orcish scrolls. It reads...
So yeah, so I mean, it may not be the most subtle.
And I know just where he is. Wait,
I don't know. I can't think of a better word for it. I don't really know how to say it, but so essentially, like the heart of the story is very much there, even if it is a little, I would say, strained. But maybe not. Maybe. I mean, the stages of grief, denial, is a pretty pretty potent thing. Denial isn't just going no to reasonable things. It's denying very fundamental truths. So the fact that Tina is in denial, even though the game didn't really do a whole lot to set up just how much she and Roland cared for each other. You know, for someone of her age and maturity to deal with it with intense denial to the point where she's even asking, you know, she's saying and doing things that are indicating that she doesn't truly seem to recognize. Oh, thank God. Body bag. Oh, goodness gracious. I was just about to end the stream. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome. Good to see you. I think you might be the only one here, but but I am now relaxed. I am now relaxed that you have shown up. Good to see you, my friend. How's the week starting out for you? Are you having to blow snow right now, or are you getting a nice? Have we hit the nice sweet spot where you're not mowing and you're not blowing? I was just talking to Justice and Isaac out in Alaska, and I think they said they've got 10. Is it 10 feet or 10 inches already? Let's see. Also, Bodybag, do you have PS5? Is that the system that you have? I can't remember. We talked about this the other day. My mind is shifty. No, you have Xbox. Never mind. You have Xbox. I remember you saying you have Xbox. Let's see. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. Alaska. Oh, 10 degrees, 6 inches of snow. It's beautiful out. Nice. 50s and sunny. Mobile and Power Brick Xbox One. What's Power Brick? I didn't realize we had I thought you had the newer Xbox. Yeah, I think mine's Fritzen. Has yours done a thing where it'll do like if you remember like the old static, like a CRTT, like if your cable was out, you'd have that black and white like kind of snowy thing. I have that, but just very, very like the snow is smaller, but like my screen locks up. So like the screen is just snow essentially without moving. It's just like a static image, and then after about 2 minutes it'll kick the game on. So I think my bone is dying. But yeah, we had it good for a few days. Texas right now we're at, I think 82 and sunny and humid. So I do envy you. The 50s are beautiful. Like you can go out in the 50s and go at a brisk walk and warm up a little bit, especially with like a light jacket or something, and it still feels really good. Still feels very crisp. It's not until sub 30 that I start going, okay, Power Brick is the first. Oh, okay, gotcha. The worst of the Xbox Ones. It won't read half my game's disc. Oh my gosh. Wow. So it was a problem with all the first Xbox Ones. Okay. Kind of like the Ring of Death in the original Xbox, or the second generation of Xbox. Was it the Xbox 360? Those had the red Ring of Death, I think. So yeah, my Xbox, it was like the cheapest one, where it doesn't even have a disc drive. It's just the system. So I'm thinking, so they got a Black Friday sale, $375 for a PlayStation 5, which I could play Elden Ring on, if that's what people wanted to see. And then somebody Justice was just recommending Rust, which also probably would be better played on an PS5. And then Astrobot, which just looks like a lot of fun to play. My favorite is when the Power Brick powers up at 3 a.m. and it sounds like a spaceship. Oh, that's what you meant by Power Brick. Okay. Do I have that? I don't think so. I think I've just got a normal cable coming out of it. But you were saying that was the first. Because I'm always getting my systems like 3 years, 4 years after they come out. Which, if I do get the PS5, that would be right on pace with my normal buying habits. Now, was it always loud like that, or is that its age showing, manifesting as sound? They only sold power bricks for the first couple months. Oh, okay. Which is weird because I mean, like, so the Wii U, I think the Wii U. I'm trying to think what other system. The GameCube, I believe. Yeah, it's weird. Like, I mean, you'd say that the very first, you had Atari, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and even N64. All of those there was no power brick. It was just the cable, and I'm pretty sure PlayStation wasn't that way. Like, when did we become so power brick heavy in our electronics? They sold a faulty system knowing the problems just to get them out for the holiday deadline. PS3 did the same thing. Sold bad PS3 for... Oh, okay. I didn't know that because, again, I've never even considered buying a system. Well, when I was younger, it was my parents. They never bought me a system at the time the system came out. It was usually 3 years or more away, 3 or 4 years afterward. Maybe not the Super Nintendo. Super Nintendo might have been 2 years after it came out. But yeah, so the downside obviously is I'm out of the loop with a lot of the stuff. I don't have as much familiarity with the systems. The good news is buggers like that, where the system is crap, or it needs some updates, or they do like I bought my Switch after they reduced the OLED model that had a little bit bigger screen, slightly more storage, and had a few kinks worked out.
Thanks for your help. I died like 80 times trying to get through those traps. Look, you gotta be careful. The guy who killed me and stole my souls is still somewhere around here.
Here we go. Noob Killer has invaded your game.
Let me take him out, would you? Enough with that creepy
I say free, but I watched my friend's dogs for a week. Oh, wait.
Try stabbing me in the back while I drink from my flask now, jerkwad.
I got the Xbox for free. It was missing the power brick, and I just paid $40 for a new brick. I mean, that's a pretty good trade-off. Did you stay in the house to watch them, or did you have to go over, like, drive 20 minutes to go over, feed them, chill with them for a little while, and then come back? Wait, you invade in Badlands like Dark Souls? See, that's what I'm saying. That I think that was the part that Joe, because I was playing this last night with Joe, and we started off in this campaign, and we went through that quest. He was like, "Oh, this is so Dark Souls. This is and I'm like, I have no clue because I've never played it, but yeah, he was like, "Oh, that is so much like Dark Souls." But no, no. That wasn't actually that was part of the quest, Body Bag. That was that's built into the game. There's not actually a player. There's no PvP per se. I mean, you can challenge your friend, like anybody who you're in a party with. You can challenge them. But no, that was. And they have another quest, unfortunately, that we're not going to see here. But where I actually did go. Wait a minute, because it had these very kind of generic, familiar looking, but also somewhat altered account names come up. So you have to actually fight against 3 internet trolls, and they actually have their names. It's like whatever 1357. So it kind of looks like the real thing. And I was like, wait a minute, are they actually? It's like there's no way they could do that. Like at the exact same time that you start a quest, they just have people that are coming in. So it's programmed into the game, but it's to make fun of or to pay homage to the games where that does happen in real life. Invading is one of my favorite parts of Dark Souls. So wait, what happens? So you can actually just go into somebody else's game and kill them? I know there's a function in there where you can summon somebody, right? Like they leave a marker or something and you can summon them. And if they're playing, that they'll come and help you with like the guy that you're fighting or something, but invading sounds like something different. Sounds nefarious. Oh, but yeah, that's not too bad. Getting an Xbox for dog sitting, because what people normally pay, like maybe $100 for a week, $80 if that, for a week of dog sitting.
It's rolling.
So you got good value out of that, I think. If you choose to play online, anyone within your level range can invade you and try to kill you. Wow. Yeah, I don't know that I would do that. I don't know that I would. Well, not that I wouldn't invade necessarily, although I would feel like crap about that. But I probably wouldn't play online. Some people would set traps for invaders and jump them. Oh, that's cool. Oh, wow. It's pretty involved. So the hunter can become the hunted, eh? I mean, that's a whole other thing. I mean, and you know what? If it was a game like Skyrim where it's just kind of open world and people are just kind of going around doing stuff and taking on side quests and maybe progressing the mission, but mostly just building their houses and whatever, I could see that. But this is a game that's like incredibly punishing and rough as it is. So to be able to be attacked by human beings who should be trying to help you fight for your life, that's just mean, man. You know, I was just about to ask a really stupid question. When is Black Friday? But it came together in my brain before I opened my mouth. But I thought I'd share with you the brief moment in time where I literally, because nowadays Black Friday is like the PlayStation 5s, they're on sale for right now, but it's Black Friday sale. So I'm like, when does Black Friday actually start these days? But the actual day is still, of course, Friday. You can go offline at any time, so if you're being briefed by the same, okay. Or if you enter a new part of the map, the invaders can't follow you. Ah, okay, I got you. Like, what's the perk to being online though? Is that the only time you can see like helpful messages or messages that may be trolling you? But like, what's the trade-off? If you can get, is it that people will come in and help you? Like you're just as likely to have somebody come and offer you aid as you are to get somebody trying to kill you? Because otherwise, why would you play online? People helping you with boss. Okay. So that is the trade-off. So wait, because you have to. Do you have to summon people? Like, how are they going to know that you're online? Like, is it you summon them, and what makes it a raid or not is whether or not they attack you versus help you? Okay, so those messages are on the online version. Okay. Yeah, I remember watching somebody on a playthrough, and it was very misleading. Like, some of the stuff was helpful. They're like, watch out for the door or something. Or, don't open the door unless you're ready. And sometimes those were fake, sometimes they were real. But then there were some like, you can make the jump, just get a running start or something. And so you get a running start and the guy falls to his death. People you summon help you, invaders just invade. Okay, all right. So they can come without being invited. I thought it was maybe a turncoat thing where you invite them, expecting them to help you, and they're going, nope, I'm going to kill you. Now, do they get any bonus for killing you? Does their character level up? Do they get an artifact or something? Or is it just, like, in other words, does the game make it clear that that's something that can happen and they kind of want to encourage it? Or is that something people realize that they could do and they're just exploiting it? You can summon a PvP fight too. Oh, okay. Well, it's a rich tapestry of involvement. Dark Souls. Now, is that for all of them, or is that? Oh, excuse me. Is that just the new? Oh, sorry. Is that just the newer ones, or has it been doing that since like the first Dark Souls, or even Demon Souls? Oh, it could have been Demon Souls, because I don't think PlayStation 1 was online. There's messages on the ground, and the different colors tell you what it is. You were also the one, Bodybag, saying that Elden Ring was the easiest out of the three, right? I think. Somebody was saying that Elden Ring is the noob-friendliest version. If it's red, that's a person who wants to PvP. Oh, okay. So you have to, so you accept it if it's a white person wants to co-op. Gotcha. Well, that's good. So you know what you're in for. And so that's why you're saying people set traps. How do you do that in that game? Because you don't have traps, right? You just what is it like? You you have them spawn in like over a chasm or something, or next to a chasm, so if they step backwards, they just fall to their deaths. I guess that's a lot better if you have control as the player as to who you invite in, and you kind of know beforehand what they're on about or what they're coming for. That makes it a lot better. I'm thinking people could just randomly spawn into your game and just stab you in the back and kill you. I'm like, man, that's pretty rough for a game that's already rough. That's even worse. But invaders just invade without you. Oh, never mind. Okay. Invaders are different from a PvP fight. Okay, gotcha. So it is what I thought. Oh boy, goodness gracious. Now, here's another question. That's exactly how it works. Suckfest. So here's a question then. So if you're a streamer, are you more liable to get invaded because people can see, they know that you're playing, they know your screen name, and so you're more likely to get trounced? Or do they have to have, is it more like a random thing? Like somebody would just be like, okay, here's just a random number instead of a screen name. I'll just attack this person. Or do they know, oh, this is Schward. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and attack him because lol, right? Invading is random, but the game is dead, so it would be the same people. Oh, is the game's dead already? Which game is this? Is it Elden, Dark Souls 1, 2? Is there a third one? I think it's just 1 and 2, right? There's Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2, and then Elden Ring. Dark Souls 3. Oh, there is a Dark Souls 3. Okay. You mean dead just from an online perspective, like nobody's actively trying to invade or anything? Because it's not an online game by default, right? Like, you can play it offline. Same with Elden Ring.
What is this place?
I just wish it was more like it was like the aesthetic was a little less like like it's like a horror movie. It's like science fiction and horror had sex, and you get Dark Souls out of it.
With a simple ritual. Give me the blood fruit. We shall reverse the curse, then find the queen ourselves.
Okay, picture an offline game. Okay, I'm picturing it now. That at any time you can go online if you want help. Okay, that's beautiful. That's the best of both worlds. That's amazing. I love that. So you can have as much risk or reward as you want. So if you're grinding and you're trying to get through this one place, you just keep it offline so that you can. Not Hodam Shidar.
Ghost King spell. Booyah! Face.
Didn't see that coming, eh? Look at that. 2 levels above us. Cutting him down like he's made out of paper.
Thanks for helping me summon the Ghost King here.
Or just one shot and stuff. So have you beat it, Body Bag?
The gatekeeper was actually the handsome sorcerer all along? What?
Certain stages are known for fighting, so you always go offline until you get past. Gotcha. And so, I mean, that must mean that the X-Bone can run Dark Souls 2 and 3. 1, 2, and 3, perhaps? Well enough? Like, you don't need a new system for those?
Wait,
Only
what?
played 3.
0 cents.
Well, I mean, but that's the highest, that's the most graphic intensive one, other than maybe Elden Ring, right? So, wait, can you play Elden Ring on Xbox One? I wouldn't imagine so. At least not successfully. Only PlayStation? Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Think so. Okay. Which they're lucky they did, because their own games that they make are absolute crap. I don't know that they've had a game that's come out recently that's not been a complete or close to a complete failure. And that's why I'm reluctant to get the system. There's not that many games that I want on it. You know, I could maybe get Rust, because somebody asked me to play that. Like I said, Elden Ring. But I don't know, maybe if they have like an Uncharted collection, I might get that.
As a representative of the Queen's Imperial Guard, Anyway, if you're looking for the Queen, the Sorcerer's got her. You'll need to cut through the dwarven slave mines to reach his tower.
The dwarf part. The dwarves are fun, but man, this is where the game kind of slogs for me a little bit. Because a lot of double backing, you get lost in a bunch of different places. They've got a few platforming, which is kind of brutal. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I will say also, between the Sony and the Xbox, the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox, what do they call it? The Xbox block or box or whatever. Sony does look sexier. It's got a cool little, like, ooh type aesthetic to it, but I'm trying to think how I'd rearrange everything to accommodate it. I guess if I got rid of the Xbox, then, or moved it, I don't know. Life is complicated. Oh no, it must suck to be you. You're like, oh, now's my time. I will surprise him and oh gosh, I'm dead. Gotta shoot the skeleton in the groin. That's normal operating procedure. That's what I get for trying to use something other than the pistoles. I also wonder how much of a lifespan PS5 has on it anymore. It's been out for how long now? When did it first come out? It's probably been at least, what, 3 years? 2020. So yeah, it's been out for 4 years already. Going on 5, almost 5 years. Well, November 2020, so we're actually at 4 years exactly now. A little beyond 4 years. So yeah, I mean, aren't they typically like 5 years? 5-year cycle? So I buy a PS5 now and it'll be obsolete in a year from now? I know there's talking about the Switch 2, which, yay for backwards compatibility. But then again, Switch came out probably way before 2020. 2017, yeah. Yeah, so Switch has had, we're on 7 years now. Actually, longer than that. Almost 8 years. Well, 7.5 years-ish. I don't know. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. I always seem to stumble onto the hotness about 3 years after everybody else has kind of forgotten about it. Like, whoa, Elden Ring, what a great game. People are like, yeah, where were you, 3 years ago? I'm like, I was playing Mario Odyssey. Actually, that's another game I have to play. Is you the same way? I don't know why that is. Yeah, I don't know. I think part of it is just because one, a lot of the systems have been very hard to get at the time of release, and I'm not somebody who's going to wait in line for it. Like I don't want it that badly. Yeah, there's just you got to give me a must have. Like even the Switch took me a while. I didn't get 64 till the PS2. Wow. Let's see how far is that? Let's see.
Welcome to Cleric Zed's Health Emporium.
All right, so 96. That's about right. 96 for N64.
If you talk to the dwarves, you could join forces and become unstoppable, mayhaps.
Don't worry, boys. My charisma
4
is off the
years.
charts. I'll convince him to.
Wow.
Lily. Clever roll.
So wait, when did the GameCube come out? That's a bigger question.
Ooh, sorry, Lily. Looks like Brick's gonna talk.
Okay. All right. So
Have a bad
you had it for about a year before the new Nintendo came out. I think I'm probably right there with you, right around that time. It was usually about 3 to 4 years after the system actually released. I think I was kindergarten, was 5, 9, 10. So yeah, I think I got my Nintendo in 1990, right around 1990, and it came out in 86 or 85 or 86. I think 85 in New York. North America release. Like they trotted it out. Okay, they're saying 85. Well, yeah. Released a limited test markets in New York City in 85 and Los Angeles in 86. Released nationwide in 86. So yeah, it was available, would have been available in 86. So yeah, I got it 4 years after. And then Super Nintendo, I think, was 91 or 92. I mean, this is all before you were born, I think, but for the most part. 91. Yeah. Yeah, so I got mine in 90, the year before the Super Nintendo came out. And yeah, it's about the same. I used up a birthday and Christmas on Sega Dreamcast. Oh, no. Oh, body bag. I'm sorry. Oh, that is rough. Now, did your parents hold you to that? Because I know a lot of kids, you know, we entered into those agreements. Like, it could be my next, like, 3 Christmases and 17 birthdays and Valentine's Day. Like, we enter into these very reckless agreements with our parents who take us up on the offer. But then, you know, your birthday rolls around and they buy you a game for it or something. Or were they kind of sticklers? They're like, nope. Oh, okay, gotcha. Oh, so that sucks anyway. You pretty much have to, like, how did that work for you? Did they commonly lump your birthday and Christmas together, or did you have birthday was, you know, its own thing, you got a gift then, and then in normal circumstances you also had a Christmas gift, and it was just that 1 year? They're like, all right. And did you get it for Christmas or for birthday? Like, did you actually get it on your birthday, or did you actually get it Christmas Day? And did you keep it? Because there's a lot of nostalgia. I mean, I've said it before. Dreamcast is like the Firefly of video game systems. It wasn't around long enough. People loved it. It had a lot of support. But Sega, man, they screwed the pooch with the Saturn. And then so when the Dreamcast came out, it was like they were already hurting and they couldn't give it the support it needed. But had they let off with that, or had they not even messed with the Saturn and just went from, I think it would have been the Mega Drive maybe, but if they could have skipped that too. Just gone from the Genesis to the Dreamcast, it might have stuck around. Or stuck around longer. It had a lot of support, a lot of fans, but like, I think, wasn't it the first one that had online play? Because I don't think the PlayStation did. And I know Nintendo didn't. They didn't get that until the Wii. So my mom couldn't afford it, so she told me if I combined birthday and Christmas and not had a birthday party, she could afford. Wow. Wow. What did you... I got the system in one game on my birthday and the rest of the games on Christmas. Okay. That works out. So, but I mean, I'm guessing it was... I mean, because it didn't get pulled for a while, right? So you got to... You kind of got your money's worth, or your agreement was... You didn't feel shortchanged by it until, like, later on when the system, like, stopped. But it sounds like you were able to get some good years out of it before that happened. No, I got screwed. Oh man. Why? But you can still play it. You can still play it. The games you got, you can still play, right? Like you still had to beat all those games. You couldn't. You weren't just like, oh, the game. They literally were selling systems that were pulled a week later. Oh. Wow. Well, wasn't there a time where they put them out, but maybe it was a Saturn I'm thinking of, but I could have sworn those systems, there was a brief time where they put them out and they were like $100 or something. They squeezed out that last holiday season sales. Oh, man. Oh. Well, I mean, it's awesome that your mom was willing to you know, make that work for you, which I'm sure that has to be a good memory, at least, you know, being able to want something so bad that even if she really couldn't afford it, she made it work somehow. But then of course, yeah, that gets soured by the fact that you went all in on a system that was just gone. If I wasn't a kid, I probably would have known the Dreamcast was going downhill and to avoid it. I don't know, buddy, because that was still before the internet was really like where you could just go onto a forum, you could go onto Reddit, you could go to where you kind of see the way the wind is blowing. I think you would have had to have like worked in like the stores. I mean, you might have seen like, oh, they're on sale, or you know, or the games are on sale. They seem to be pricing them out, but I'd be surprised if the casual gamer wouldn't have been taken aback by it, no matter how old.
No talking. You're just gonna stare at me, or you're gonna say.
Because, like, to your point, they kind of hide it. They say, oh, hey, here's a new release. You're like, well, why would they release a game in November if they were going out of business? And it was Sega, man. It was Sega. Nobody was going to expect Sega to go out. They were around, you know, the Genesis brought them into prominence. Like, Sega was a big name. I did the same deal with my first Xbox, and this is broke. Oh, no. Oh, man. All right, so, Bobby, I'm beginning to understand why you've been a little more reluctant to go for a system. You've had some of the worst luck. Wow. What games were they? I think back, but Xbox is a crap console. Yeah. I'm not sure why I chose that over the PlayStation. Oh, you know what it was? They had just released the Master Chief Collection, and everybody and their mother made the biggest mistake about Halo. I'm not saying it's not great. I'm not saying, you know, people, if you love the game, I'm not saying it's not worth it. All I can say that, as somebody who only played it after getting the Master Chief Collection, so I have no nostalgia. I didn't play it when it first came out. I had no interaction with it until the Master Chief Collection. I got on there and I'm like, the heck is this? One of them was a Magic the Gathering game? No way! Wait a minute. You got a Magic the... Wait. Was it card playing as the mechanic, or was it Magic the Gathering themed?
Well, damn. Now how do we get out of here?
Because I would say if it's the former, shame on you. Like a console game playing a card game, nah, that just, you can't. It's like, I mean, it's almost up there with getting Monopoly, which, to be fair, I did get one Christmas. I got Monopoly for PlayStation. My mom, it was again many years after it came out, so there weren't a lot of games to be had. So my mom just kind of bought what she could find. So again, it's one of those things. So there are definitely gifts that you appreciate more because of the effort and what your parents are trying to do for you versus the actual how it turned out. It turned out to be not a card game, but like a Final Fantasy type style combat ripoff. Ah, Magic the Gathering Battlegrounds. Oh, the screenshots look pretty cool. Let me see. Real-time strategy video game based on secret level. Blah 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 blah. Da, da, da. Publishers: Atari. Platforms: Windows, Xbox. Okay, yep. So it checks out. It's got like a guy with like a horn helmet and a sword that is. Well, here you go. Is it this one? Right there. I mean, literally Magic Battlegrounds. So yeah, you probably had it right. Let's get down to reception here. The game received average reviews on both platforms, according to blah blah blah. In Japan, wait, whoa. Famitsu gave the latter a score of 1-7,
That looks like the symbol for the
2 6s, and 1 7 for a total of 26 out of 40. So barely over average. Yeah, it looks like average to subpar. It may not be pretty, but it's deep, challenging, and filled with replayability. That's what GamePro said. Battlegrounds is like a piece of candy wrapped in burlap. Hard to appreciate at first, but really sweet once you get into it. What does that align with your experience with that, Body Bag? The worst game I've ever played. Wow. So not exactly. So wait, are you telling me, Buddy? Are you suggesting, Body Bag, that game critics and game reviewers were as irrelevant and off target back in 2004 as they are today? Arguably less so. Like, they were probably better back then than they are today. Dude, use the Herald. Use the Herald. You're getting wrecked. And we're just going down here. Yeah, I mean, which, you know, that was something, let's see, we were talking about that. I was talking about this with somebody. Who was I talking to that with? Oh, yeah. Like Underhill and some other folks. We were talking about the fact that Magic the Gathering doesn't really have the multimedia attack that like something like Pokemon does. Or even Yu-Gi-Oh, where you have an animated series and then and the game itself, and then the digital version and the paper version. Magic just has really, but it seems like every time they try to expand into a different type of media, whether it's, you know, a TV show or a movie or a video game, it just absolutely sucks. Which there's no reason for that inherently, other than they essentially license out their name to companies that suck. I'm not joking. It hurt me as a kid to spend $60 of my hard-earned money on it and turned out to be that BS. Oh man. Well, what was it that made you think it was good, Body Bag? Because you probably you didn't have gameplay reviews, right? You weren't able to watch people play it, like on YouTube or something. So, what was it about it that made you think that it was going to be good, like, or that drew you to it? Because yeah, $60, especially back then, was a lot of money. And especially if, you know, you're the one that's making it. It's like your money. It's like there had to be something that made you go that over. I mean, I'm trying to think. Well, Xbox, like, yeah, you'd probably be better off with like a Halo game. Or, wait, did they even have? Was Gears of War? Was that was Xbox One? No, I think that was. Oh, that was probably 360. Yeah, Xbox 360. Okay. Yeah, you're talking about the old school Xbox, right? The big black box. It was huge. The controllers were huge. Well, first, this was right after I stopped playing Magic the Gathering. Oh, okay. There you go. That alone would do it. So I was excited to play Magic the Gathering. again, and the artwork on the box looked good. It does. It actually does look pretty darn good. Oh man, I'm sorry. That's a gut punch. The closest I got to that kind of experience, and again, my folks tried. There's a game called NFL. It's literally called NFL, and it's by LJN, which, if you didn't know they sucked before, as an adult, I realized that kind of the entire world knew that. But it was an LJN game. I mean, you could look at the gameplay. It is absolutely horrible. I mean, the players move like molasses. It's awkward, even though it has the NFL license, apparently, and it's like, obviously, Joe Montana on the cover. They don't have any of the players' names in the actual game. Like, Tecmo is like 30,000 times better than that game. But that was when I got, on the Christmas that I finally got my Nintendo, came with Mario, and my only other game that I got was NFL. And I didn't ask for it, to be fair. I think I asked for a football game. I didn't know. I thought Tecmo was just the only game. But yeah, I got NFL, which was just abysmal. I played it, tried to play it a little bit, but even my dad, he sat down to play it with me. And he's like, why are they moving so slow? What's going on? I was like, it's just the nature of the game, Dad. But that's the closest I've come to a disappointment. And at least that was a free gift, you know, which I bought that one because you could buy it for freaking cheap, of course. But like, I found a complete in box, so I've got like the box hanging up. Just again, it's a tribute to the good-heartedness of my parents, you know, trying to buy me something, and the execution was lacking, but the intent was not. Magic the Gathering Battleground was movie game level of bad. Oh, okay, that says it all right there. That says it all. Yeah. Oh wow. Oh. So here's the thing: did you stick through it because you spent the money on it and you beat it, or did you just play it for like 20 minutes and go, "What in the hell?" and just, I lost my money. I'm not going to lose my time too. That is painful. I played it for 20 minutes and bit the bullet. That's the pros and con kind of dilemma you end up with. You go, do I play it to justify the fact that I spent $60 and go, okay, I'm gonna get my money's worth out of it, or I'm never gonna get my money's worth out of it because even if I play it for 60 hours or 20 hours, I hate myself the entire time. And you say, yeah, you got to cut your losses. Got to cut your losses. And that was the other bummer, like when it came to video games too, you couldn't really return them. Like once you open the box, unless it was defective, which you could argue it was. Like, what's wrong with the game? It sucks. Oh, I'm sorry, so that's not a problem. No, I disagree. It is. You should not be able to sell this game. I mean, I was kind of hoping it would have a corresponding review. Like, you know, something that just says this was considered to be one of the worst games to ever come out on this platform, but... Oh, the PlayStation Portable. Oh, nice! I was about to ask you, was that something you bought for yourself then, or was that family? Wow. Do you still have it? They came out with that... Like, every time I see a game that I'm like, oh, that looks really cool, from a certain, like, time period, it was on a portable... It was either the Nintendo DS... or the DS3 or whatever it was, or the DSX, and the PSP. There were a lot of good games for that system, from what I can recall. And hopefully you got some. That's a heck of a gift from a sibling. No, every system I've owned, I pawned off when I was a teenager. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, because back then we never thought, like, it's like, okay, they keep coming out with better systems. You know, you never think about what you're giving up. So yeah, I did the same thing myself, or I gave them away. It's like I'll never need this again. Ugh, how wrong I was. Although to be fair, in our defense, if game systems did what, like had always done what the new ones do, which is make them backward compatible, we would have been completely justified. Why do you need an old system? I don't know that we thought. Well, that's not true, because when Super Nintendo came out, it was very obvious we weren't going to have that opportunity, like that it was backward compatibility wasn't going to be a thing.
Everybody, stop mining! Start shooting!
Well, the worst part is the money I use for partying. Oh. I tell you, buddy, like your life is fraught with tragedy. It may not be like, you know, third world tragedy, but it's definitely a lot of tragedy in there. That was something I was explaining to a friend of mine. He's like, well, I don't understand why, like, we're all gonna go, like, it was like a friend's birthday party. We're all gonna go to Vegas for 2 days. And I was like, I would rather buy a video game or, you know, or any number of things. And it wasn't like I didn't know the guy all that well, so it wasn't like, oh, I'm dissing on my best friend. It was like a tertiary or a invitation by proxy type thing. But it was like, and it wasn't focused on the birthday. It was more about this Vegas trip. And I'm like, go to Vegas, you spend X number of money, you spend a good chunk of change. Yeah, you get to enjoy it for 48 hours, but you've got the flight that's not all that fun. You got a lot of stuff around it that's not all that fun, and you're out that money with absolutely nothing to show for it other than your memories and a few photos. Whereas if I were to take that money and probably buy a video game system for the amount that I'd pay for the plane tickets and the actual hotel and everything. Video game system and 4 games. And I've got that as long as I want to keep it around. So yeah, it is a little. It's a little difficult to, especially retroactively, justify or appreciate when you spend money on something that's fleeting, than it is to, you know, spend something that may last you a while, like the game systems, but. No, I was just a shithead growing up. Didn't grow up until I was in my late 20s. Most people don't body bag. Hey, that is absolutely. I will stand by you with that. Most of us aren't, and I say myself as well. I didn't do a lot of the partying. I didn't do a lot of the typical stuff because, you know, growing up in the early 80s, we had programs like Dare that said stay away from drugs. I watched, you know, videos and stuff about drunk driving and the harmful effects of alcohol and the stupid things people do with alcohol. So I didn't drink alcohol. Smoking, same thing. Lots of detriment there. Parties, I never got into. I'm an introvert, so I was never drawn in by the allure of crowds and a lot of people. None of my friends were partiers, really. We were like more like spend the night and build a blanket fort type friends. But that doesn't mean that I wasn't making stupid decisions well into my late 20s, even maybe early 30s. But that's the time. I mean. We're on the rails, man. We're our parents. Hopefully you got good parents. Sounds like you did, or you know, a good mother. You know, we didn't like you went to school, and you either did chores, maybe did a little stuff to get some allowance money or whatever. But your life was on the rails. Like we didn't have a lot of freedom. We didn't have a lot of responsibility, but we had almost no freedom. Your 20s is when you got that freedom, and you could finally start getting a job, and you're like, hey, I can choose to buy a TV and not eat for 5 days, you know, or not. You know, we had the freedom to make stupid decisions, and we had the naivete and the lack of experience that enabled those stupid decisions. So I don't think you're alone in that at all. I think the difference is you had some people that, not because they had any heightened sense of awareness or reality or understanding, they were just like, I loved my game systems and I never liked the idea of selling them. So you got some people that kept all the stuff just because they liked it. Some people, their parents squirreled the stuff away. Like one guy told me, he was like, yeah, my mom just kind of took the systems and just said, I'll hang on to it for you for a while. Probably because the parents spent a crap ton of money on them and they didn't want to see them just getting thrown away or given away. Which was very smart. But yeah, that's most of us, man. Late 20s, that's right about the time you start stabilizing. It's like life is aggro. And as long as you survive into your late 20s, you can stabilize, throw out a few guards, get your life back together. The question is just how much did you have, and how much did you have to lose? Because usually, if you had a lot to lose, you probably lost a lot in those years. Which is why I stopped caring so much about athletes and sports, just because I'm like, these are kids. Like they haven't figured anything out. Like it can still be fun to watch at times, but in terms of looking to them as heroes, like I did back in the day, Walter Payton, man, and like what his workout ethic, what he used to do, I was like, I wanted to be like Walter Payton. Joe Montana pushing through difficulties. I wanted to be like Joe Montana. But and I'm not saying that players today don't go through those same things, but I mean, I'm pretty sure when Walter Payton started off his career, he wasn't making a ridiculous amount of money.
Tina, I'm pretty sure this jump is impossible.
Fine. My bad. I'll make it doable.
But yeah, between that and then having understanding for people that, we hear and see athletes do a lot of stupid things, but you realize like almost none of them are 30. Like they're not even in their mid 20s yet. They're coming out of college or just going straight pro. I think most of them came out of college. But like they're 21, 22 years old, and they got $1 million bucks, in the bank account. Just think what we would have done with $1 million in our 20s. Like it's just, yeah. I don't know if it's always been that way. I think maybe back in the day, people were more responsible at an earlier age because you had to be, because you were. They didn't have a lot of the luxuries that we do. But in the modern era, I would say probably since in the 80s, maybe more so in the 90s, I think the 20s are just a period of figuring stuff out, figuring life out, making a lot of mistakes. Because we have a lot more freedom, a lot more opportunities to make those mistakes.
This sucks. I hate jumping puzzles.
This is another reason why I love this expansion.
Wendy. A magical bridge extends, leading you directly to the road. Are you happy?
See, now, I have played through this where I actually did do the platforming, but I love the fact this game knows what it is. This game is not a grindy, try to figure stuff out. It's not a get lost and wander around. It's not an exploratory. This is a shoot stuff and get cool weapons game. So even in this RPG setting, when you get to a point that's platforming, or you get to a point that's like a puzzle thing that you have to solve, it'll let you try a few times, and then if you really suck, it'll just be like, okay, we'll do it for you if you want. And I appreciate that. Like stop these games that are like it's an action adventure game. Now you've got me doing puzzle solving. That's not what I signed up for. Yeah, I couldn't imagine being 25 million with a bank account living in Miami. Oh yeah. First time the media says something I don't like, I'm telling everyone to F off. I'm going on my boat. Yep. And of course, then right there, like, oh, now Body Bag's a hothead and irresponsible, and his teammates are like, oh, why is he on a boat? Like, that's a liability, and he runs away from his problems. That's the other half of it too, is how much publicity that would get. And it doesn't even have to be that really publicity. It just somebody just tweets about it or something. That's why the Dolphins don't have a winning culture, because of Miami. You might be onto something there. I mean, think about most of the teams that have won. I'm trying to think I haven't been paying attention for the last probably 10 years, so I don't even know. But I know when I was watching, LA wasn't winning. New York wasn't winning. The Giants got to 2 Super Bowls that I can think of. Well, I guess 3, because I remember they beat the freaking Patriots, which was if they hadn't beat them earlier in the season, I would have called that just atrocious. But to ruin an undefeated season on the final game, not of the season, but of the whole thing. You go undefeated for 17 or 18 games, go into the playoffs undefeated, and then lose to a freaking stupid helmet catch. Like, it wasn't one of these it wasn't like Dwight Clark in the back of the end zone reaching up, stretching as much as his limited vertical would allow, and just stretching out to snag that ball in the back of the end zone at the last minute to win the game is nowhere near Hail Mary, scared to death. I just throw the ball up in the air, and I'm going to catch it off my helmet, and we're going to limp our way into the end zone or a field goal or whatever the heck it was. No comparison. But like, most of the big markets, most of the sexy markets, they don't win. And that could very well be why, Body Bag. Although, I got to say, there's really no excuse for Buffalo. I mean, Buffalo is not exactly the happy hap, you know? So I don't know why they can't pull it together, but... Exactly, yeah, Vegas will never have a championship. Yeah. Well, I think the Raiders are just doomed. I mean, to be fair, I guess the Raiders did win when they were in Oakland, I think it was, when they were the Oakland Raiders with John Madden. They got one ring. And it was only because they cheated their asses off. That was it. And they admit to it. You watch America's Game, and they will just admit they did all the dirty tricks. They headhunted. They were gouging people with fake casts and crap. I mean, they had Lou Alzado, I think was his name. The guy who they found out was like roided out of his brain. Unfortunately, literally, I think he got a brain tumor and died very young. But I mean, you got a guy that's like, and they argue that, you know, a lot of players were juicing, or many of them were. He was a huge one. So you got, you know, one of your defensive players is playing with a ridiculous advantage. Both people on both sides of the ball are playing dirty, doing dirty hits, doing whatever they can get away with. Okay, yeah, you got one ring. Congratulations. We're up there with Miami and destinations. Are you really? No. Really? People go to Buffalo like they go to Miami? Like, what's in Buffalo? Oh. Okay, so I misunderstood. I mean, to be fair, though, Body Bag, Miami did win, what, twice? Was it 2 times? That they were the undefeated. I think they beat... Who did they beat? I know they lost to the Niners. Crapola. Who was their undefeated season win against? I don't remember, but I know that, and then they beat, I think, the Redskins later. Remember the Solar Eclipse last year? Oh, really? Was that one of the prime? Was Buffalo one of the prime viewing places for that? I do remember seeing like a huge swath. Like we were looking at like Airbnbs. Like there was a huge swath of that one part where it was like if you looked, it was like it would like give you like red dots when it was like a hot spot. It's like that entire strip of the country was just a huge, big red swath because I'm out there when I spent money on vacation days to travel to Buffalo for the solar eclipse. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like, honestly, Buddy Bag, I don't know that I'd overtly mock, but I would give a, really? To anybody who traveled any distance, I don't care if you went to San Diego to see the solar eclipse. Like, it was just the most underwhelming. The fact that it's rare doesn't make it valuable, you know? Like there are toys from the 70s and 80s that you can find brand new in box for like $40. Which, yeah, sure, when they came out they're only $4, so that's a huge markup, but they're not collectible items. Brand new. Never opened. They're still getting sold for almost nothing. So they're rare. There's no demand for them. So it's the same thing with people like, but you don't understand. This is like a once in a lifetime thing. Once in a 5 lifetime thing. Okay. That doesn't mean it's awesome. It just means, I don't know. All jokes aside, solar eclipse in Buffalo was crazy. What do you mean crazy? Like it was really cool? It made the city really cool. It made it crazy. Like madness stuff. Like how many people were there? Like good, bad, crazy. Did you see it? I actually forgot to. I was going to actually, I wanted to. I totally forgot to do it though, which just shows how much I cared. But I want to do a live stream where I'm facing the wrong direction. It's like, all right, here we are. It's coming. I'm talking, and maybe it's going on behind me or something. I'm like, all right, it's coming up. This is going to be the most amazing thing, man. I'm just going to sit back and relax and enjoy and blah, blah, blah. And then, what the heck happened? Just to kind of emphasize just how, like, I guarantee you, if nobody made a huge deal out of it, or if nobody mentioned it, the few people that might have looked up and went, huh, what's going on up there? Is that clouds? I don't know. Oh well. Like, that would have been it. It was pitch black out. Oh, so it was. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, we did not experience that here. Or wherever I was. Or if we did, I wasn't even outside, so I didn't notice it. It was something out of a movie. Okay. So, okay, something really cool then. So you were mocking them or poking fun, not that they went all that way to see the eclipse. Yours was more that you came all the way to Buffalo, New York to see the eclipse. It's more of the location destination versus... How long did it last? It was pitch black out for how long? Was it like 5 minutes or something like that? I thought it was a not insignificant amount of time, but also not a truly significant amount of time.
Standing before you is a dwarven puzzle. To get past it, you gotta think real hard. To the max.
Yeah. See, I tried this, I believe. But I'm with you, Gunzerker. I have no... I tried a little bit, and then I'm like, screw it. And I remember that we could just punch it, and it goes away. Yeah, like 5 minutes. I have pictures. Oh, cool! Wait a minute, Body Bag. If it's pitch black, what are these pictures going to be of? Just pitch black darkness with a timestamp that shows that it was there at the time? I know you don't mean literally pitch black, but that is one of those... It was pitch black. You couldn't see anything. I took a lot of pictures. Well... Of the eclipse itself. Okay. Awesome, man. Well, good. See, and that is a... What, once in a... 2 lifetimes, 3 lifetimes, once in 100 years, maybe, century type experience. So cool. You actually... Excuse me. It was actually an experience, not just an event. That's cool. I don't think I would have gone somewhere to see that. But if you don't, it's much less spectacular, I think, than what you got to show. After witnessing it, I completely understood why the Mayans started chopping heads off. What? What? Why is that? Was it scary? Creepy? I think the Mayans were doing human sacrifices long before, right? Weren't the Mayans one of the people that were doing human sacrifices? Yeah, religious ritual. Yeah.
I want to break stuff.
I was making reference to that Mel Gibson movie. Oh crap! Which one is that? The Signs? Is that from Signs? Or maybe not. No. Is that a quote from the movie? Okay, no, it didn't. Okay, hold on, I'll find the name. I'm guessing I haven't seen it, unless it was one of the Lethal Weapons, Braveheart, The Patriot. Oh, then there's that other one. Oh, what? The Conspiracy Theory? I think it's actually called Conspiracy Theory. The one with Julia Roberts. Apocalypto. Oh, okay. The yeah. So I actually went to see that with my went to see that with a friend, and I actually had to leave. Not out of a principle. I just got sick to my stomach. Like literally, I just the blood drained from my face, and I felt like I was going to throw up when they started beating the baby against a tree. Mel Gibson, man, he between sound design and what he shoots as a director, even as an actor. I mean, I remember some of the scenes in Braveheart and Payback. Really leans into the violence, gore, and punishment end of things. It was pretty rough, but Apocalypto was next level. I couldn't. I got through the first 10 minutes, I think, and I was like, nope, can't do it. I walked out of the theater, sat down, put my head between my legs, and just waited for the weakness, the whatever it was I was feeling, waited for it to pass, and I never went back in the theater. I love Payback. Not too many people know about that. Oh yeah, no, really? Yeah, no, Payback is a great movie. Get ready to root for the bad guy. That might be the first, either if it was not the first movie, one of the first movies to actually like acknowledge that the guy you're rooting for is kind of a jerk, but also counterbalanced by the fact that the people he's ends up fighting against are even more jerks. He doesn't kill cops. He has crooked cops killed, or gets crooked cops killed. You know, people that are in blackmail, extortion, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that was the tagline. Get ready to root for the bad guy. I always look for Payback on streaming services, but can never find it. I don't know if I've got it on Blu-ray, but I do have it as a file. I could probably throw it on Dropbox if you want. But I don't think it's the I don't think I got it on Blu-ray. I think it's just the standard definition. Which if you're gonna put it on your phone and watch it, probably be easier that way anyway. My favorite part is how the money increases. Yeah. He's like, it's 30,000. Like yeah, every time. I think it's 4 times that happens. And then who's that one guy? Is like 30,000. I have suits that cost more than that, man. Yeah. Hell, my suit costs more than that. Yeah. Yeah, that I mean, I don't know if there were a ton of quotable lines, but there were definitely some. I'm trying to think. I just remember that really smug schmuck. He's like, "Yeah, Porter, don't get out of line." And then he pulls the gun away from him. And he's like, "Don't kill me." He shot his gator luggage. Yeah. Oh, yep. That's just mean, man. And I love the one guy, Porter. And I remember it because of the way the guy says it. You know, the guy with the hat, the little scrawny dude. Like, yeah, Porter, don't get out of line if you know what's good for you. That's just mean, man. And then when he the guy he kills after that? When he doesn't kill that guy, because that guy, he's just like, I don't care, do whatever you want. But the other guy where he's just like, you just don't get it, do you, you dumb He's got the orange slice in his mouth. It's like, that's like the I don't know if you want to call it the weirdest or the coolest or whatever. Like, you're dying. Your last words are, you just don't get it, you dumb. Yeah, I didn't want him to kill that guy. And that's the thing. The movie does a good job. It helps, it identifies, or not identifies, but it writes the characters in such a way. There's certain ones you don't want to have die. There's certain ones you don't care. And there's certain ones you definitely do. And all the ones that you do want to have die definitely get killed. And the ones that survive, like that's what you kind of wanted to see. He constantly gets kidnapped. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he does not do well. But he finds a way to make it work. Which I like too, because it's kind of like he's not just like a bad. Like I remember when I saw, was it the Good, Bad, and the Ugly? Like I had in my mind the way people talk about that was my first and only like classic Clint Eastwood movie. And I remember when I watched it, I was like, dude, he's getting owned this entire movie. Like I thought he was supposed to be like this like stoic badass, And it's like he's always getting like people pull one over on him, getting held at gunpoint, like getting pantsed. Like he's not like an unstoppable badass. He survives, but it ain't pretty. Like that's the ugly part. And I don't even know who the good, the bad, and the ugly are at the end of that movie. You kind of know who the bad is, and the ugly is every situation he finds himself in, but I don't know who the good guy is. But yeah, it's the same kind of thing. He's a jerk, but he's not and he's kind of a badass, but he's also, you know. I mean, and it makes sense too, because he's got how many people coming after him? He pisses off the cartel. He pisses off the cops, the crooked cops. He pisses off the loan shark guy or whoever that was, wanting to be part of the cartel. And then, yeah, he pisses off and then the Chinese or the Japanese, the triad, I think it is, or he doesn't do it, but it gets pinned on him. So he's like just trying to figure out how to get out. Steven Seagal doesn't get hit once. Steven Seagal, like I take umbrage with anybody who lumps him in with like the classic movie stars of the 80s. Steven Seagal is it's. And do you watch Space Ice? Have you seen that channel? Where he's like, Steven Seagal's mega blockbuster hit movie showed the world that Steven Seagal can't act his way out of a paper bag. They're pretty funny. He does. I think the guy's name is Bodine or something. There's some really bad movies. He does those, but Steven Seagal is right up there with those. Like even, I mean, maybe Under Siege you could argue because he doesn't run, he doesn't really fight. He does his little slappy slap, whatever stuff. Isn't all that bad, but you see the guy run, and yeah, like you said, like he's just completely unstoppable. Like he's untouchable, which he doesn't understand. That's boring. Like, but I mean, he was an action star who wasn't really good at the action. And yet there are people that still buy the movies, still watch the movies. And hey, if that's your bliss, Breen, that was a name. I can't remember his first name, but there's a guy out of LA, I guess, who just does these low budget crap movies that he actually wrote, and they are horrible. But Seagal's movies aren't all that much better. The modern ones. The older ones, there might have been one or two that had a serviceable plot. But I would rather watch pretty much just anybody else. You guys can't stop me. You can't stop me. You can't even hope to contain me. It's not really this easy normally, folks. I'm just Unkempt Harold. When it comes to cheesy 90s action, Arnold had it on lock. Yeah. Yep. I agree. He might have had the highest... He might have had the highest cheesy 90s as well as the highest like action not last I think he was Last Action Hero, and that was bad. True Lies. Like True Lies was good. He had Predator, obviously Terminator 1 and 2. It was you. Somebody was recommending Running Man. It might have been you. Somebody's recommending that the other day on the War at 4.
Is it Raft? I bet it's Raft.
So that it was definitely worth watching. Total Recall, I guess, was good. I don't really know. I've only seen it once, and I don't remember how I thought about it. But then you had like Jingle All the Way and Last Action Hero and what was it? Twins? No, Sylvester Stallone I think was Twins. Running Man is a meme of a movie. Running Man. Is it? Okay, so is it like was that not the password? Mimi fun or Mimi bad? Like it's kind of so bad that it's good, or it's kind of like painful? Like Batman and Robin bad, because that was another one of his. Although, yeah, he was. I guess that was in the 90s too. Batman and Robin was horrible. Hey, everybody, chill out. Freeze. something else having to do with being cold.
Just figured it out.
So say it.
Fine. It's art.
I haven't seen it since I was like 10. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. I won't hold you accountable. If I do watch it and it's horrible,
Did somebody say
I won't hold you accountable for it.
stinky thing to say?
You ruin everything.
But I mean, Sylvester Stallone, I think Sylvester Stallone's good to bad ratio depends on how much you like the Rocky movies. I think most folks agree that Rocky 5 was depressing and just bad. But people seem to have varying degrees. You had, I would say, you could argue Rocky 1 through 4. They may have been repetitive, they may have been formulaic, but they weren't bad movies. And he performed well enough in them. Like, it wasn't like, oh, that's it, right? We're at the end of the stream. But you had Rambo, at least the first one, maybe the second one too. I don't know. I've only seen the first one. What else do we have? Demolition Man, great movie, fun movie. But I mean, he had a lot of Judge Dredd was not a good one. That was one of the clunkers. But like, I just wonder which one of those two has the highest, like, awesome movie to crappy movie ratio. Oh, it's definitely horrible, but at what level of horror, I don't remember. Rocky was the only good movie. Hey, Dano, what's going on? Rambo was mid. Oh, Dano, by the way, how high are you in Magic the Gathering now? I'm at silver 1. Woo! But then when I realized that the season's going to start over in 4 days, I was like, I stopped trying to climb because I'm like, I'm not going to get that far. But still Platinum 3. Okay, hey, that ain't bad. That ain't bad. Although I think Ugnip caught up to you. I think he's also Platinum 3. I still need a better deck. Yeah. Yeah, it blows my mind when people are like, I'm watching these channels and I'm like, yeah, most people like to have an effective deck. You like they're running 4 ofs on everything. And I'm like, I don't have 4 of anything. Oh no, I have 1 card where I have 4 of. Everything else is mostly a 1 or 2 drop. But that reminds me, Body Bag, how are you doing? Have you been playing as well, or is it kind of gone out of, you've lost its zeal? Been yo-yoing, I suck. Wait till I get good. I don't know, Dano. Well, 1, I don't think you suck, but 2, if you're like me, you're coming across every deck that can do, like, I mean, there are so many, like, 1 turn, like, I've watched people play on turn 0, like, turn 1, they can win if they get the right draw. There is a proliferation of drained for pain type decks out there that literally are 2 cards that cost less than the Ring of Namira and are not as easily removed. And if you play those, it's a drain, heal, kill loop until your opponent's dead. Like, put it this way, there are many easy to pull off cheap OTKs in Magic the Gathering than there are in Tessel. So you probably have just been, especially at that level, you've been just probably coming against players that have, they have the right draw and they just have the deck that can enable ridiculous shenanigans, and you're going, what the hell just happened? I'm struggling to make a deck still using pre-made decks. Body Bag, you beat the crap out of me with that one deck, the pre-made investigatory deck. That was pretty darn effective. Had a lot of good synergy in it. I'd say that's a pretty darn good one. If nothing else, you could take out a few cards, put your own in there, and you'd probably be unstoppable. Oh yeah, what was it? Oh no, then you have the Menace deck. That was a pain in the ass. But not really. It's not a bad deck at all. It's just when, like, I just got used to Magic okay, not only do I have to think about whether I want to attack, but I've got to consider what that leaves me open to, because I can't do both unless you have there's that one keyword, vigilance, I think it is, where you can attack and then defend. Unless you have that, you can't defend. So it was like I had to go back to Tussle ways of thinking, like, okay, he's going to charge me. And it was, but I think it should be effective, right? I mean, that's like hyper aggro, unstoppable. Although, I mean, I think I had 2 copies of it. I know I had at least 1 copy of essentially the board wipe, but I really didn't think you were going to go off on that turn. I thought I had 1 more turn, and I was hoping you were going to play a few more cards before I nuked the board, but you didn't, and I didn't, and so you did, and that's how that goes. But I thought it was a pretty good showing. Top 1,000, that's what you're going for? Facing a lot of drain and artifact enchantment. Yeah. Oh yeah, I've got two cards in the deck. I mean, which isn't a lot, but 2 of my cards that are enchantment artifact killers, just for that reason. Just because if you don't have them, like the supports, or the equivalent of supports in Magic, are so ridiculous and they snowball so quickly. I mean, yeah, if you can't take those things out, you're just gonna get screwed. Someone hit me with an OTK, did 35 damage with an artifact or summon. Jeez. Didn't even know. Yeah, exactly, Dano. That's the thing. That's almost the worst part about it. You have no idea what the hell just happened. You're just watching going, okay. And then like, I love the fact that it has so much like the interface, like it shows, okay, this card goes with this card, and then it's getting help from this one, so you're healing from this, and then this one enables this, and then you use the 2 cards you draw from that, and it's fine, it's good, but I have no clue what the hell is going on. I just know, okay, he played this 1 card, now suddenly half his creatures got buffed up to like a 5, and he's drawing 4 cards now, and he just did 2 damage to my face, and now 2 of these cards are invincible, and this all this happened because he played 1 freaking card. Like, how in the world is this right? And I don't even know what card he played, and I don't just all I know is if I start seeing him gathering artifacts, or I start seeing him put down whatever stuff, I know they're building to something, and they're just waiting to draw their trigger card. The good thing about Magic games are like 3 to 5 minutes. Yeah, I had one. I wish I was recording it at the time. I haven't recorded any of my games so far, but there was one that was probably about a 10, almost 15-minute game. Yeah, this is me, Mr. I don't do control, but because my dragon deck is control. It is hold them off until you can get the dragon that essentially every time you play a creature, you deal that creature's power damage to anything else on the board, and the dragon that at the start of your turn, you exile 2 cards and you can play them. So you've got like extra draw. You're drawing 3 cards a turn. Granted, they're exiled. If you don't play them, you lose them the next turn. But you're drawing 3 cards and you're dealing damage to the board. And then there's the dragon that does 4 damage to a target every time it attacks, plus 3 more damage each. Oh, and to a target, by the way. So I could just do that damage to face if I wanted to. Yeah, so there's... I like my deck. I love it. I really want it to do well, but yeah, it's... But yeah, that game lasted about 12 minutes because I was up against an opponent who had also built a huge board. And so it was like 20 to 25. Well, no, maybe not that. Well, yeah, maybe about that high. Because there's another dragon that every time you play an action, it puts a 5/5 token dragon on the board. So I had a crap ton. They had a crap ton. And it wasn't until I got one of the bigger dragons down that started doing the multiple damage that they eventually quit. But yeah, it was almost a 15-minute game. And I enjoyed it. I kind of enjoyed it because it was like you're both waiting for the right opportunity. Because if I attack and you get to determine how you defend it, I'm not going to come away from that looking good. Neither are you. So we kind of were at a stalemate, but it was just one of us waiting for waiting for the solution. But I'm liking it, honestly. I mean, I hate to say it, but at this point, the level of complexity I actually appreciate a little bit more than Tesla. I feel like there's more ways for me to figure out how to do stuff that may not be predominant. Whereas with Legends, I kind of felt like comparatively, it felt a little more straightforward and a little more linear, for lack of a better word. Even though, of course, you could see guys like A. Ross and Dano and you, Bodybag, actually, pretty much everybody but me, had cool ways to do stuff, and cool ways to play the decks. I feel like with Legends, you would definitely lose if you're playing a a highly specialized OTK deck that you don't know what you're doing or how you're running it, you can lose if you're playing your combo pieces early and you don't really know what you're doing. But you could also win, just get lucky, or you can just win by having a solid deck and not really have a plan other than I'm controlling the board in mid-range, I'm going for face and aggro, or I'm just going to turtle up for control. Like that was pretty much how you played it. Whereas I feel like Magic gives you you really do have to have, especially against like what you're saying, a lot of those decks we're playing coming against Dano that have these strategies. You're pretty much you need to run your deck the way you want to run it, and it needs to have a plan and a path forward. And then you just have to include a few cards to try to thwart your opponents, like some removal, just some stuff that can throw a wrench into their plans. But mostly you're just trying to play your game versus reacting too much. The benefits of being ignorant to Magic is not knowing when I'm being hit with some toxic. Yeah, exactly. Other than toxic, there actually is a mechanic called toxic, and I hate it already because it's just if you don't have if they get three hits on you initially, or if you don't have a board to oppose them with right off the jump, or if you do, but then it gets nuked by their removal because it's in black and whatever the other color is, green, I think. But yeah, toxic is a huge one, and I hate that. But yeah, yep. And Tesla usually know, and there's a limit even with the amount of angel decks I was coming against, or the heal decks, there were still variants in them. Like I was still like, I'm making notes of these cards. I'm like, well, that card seems overpowered. Oh, well, that's a really good card. If I can keep up fast enough, I can write these things down. I'm like making notes and going, okay, I might want to look into how that card works or what just hit me. But yeah, that's most of my games are what just hit me. Whether it took me out in one turn or whether it wiped out my board and gave my opponent all the like, okay, I have no cards, I have no board, I have nothing, and you have everything. So yeah, I'm going to concede because I don't have a win condition at this point. Because even the dragons aren't really win conditions; they're just really strong, more or less late game that can do some cool things. But they're they're not without their, but there's enough cards in it and enough of the things do multiple damage that you can either win by beating down the board or by launching crap at the face. There's a lot of like Chandra, like she's a planeswalker. She's actually really she can do, if you get up to 9, anything over 9 you can trigger where wait a minute, is it, I think it's off your magic count or your lands count, or no, maybe I think it's just her trigger. You can do like 9 damage to any 2 targets, so you can just throw all 9 onto your opponent's face. 9 plus there's a card that does 4, that's 13. In a game where we only have 20 life, that's pretty significant. 3 cost, your opponent exiles 2 cards from their hand. Black card is something I've been seeing a lot. Your opponent exiles 2 cards from their hand. Oh, right. So they burn through your deck. Yeah, I actually had that. And then they have a card on board, at least the guy that I'm thinking of specifically, he had a whenever you play an action or whenever you play whatever, duplicate it. And so it's like he did it to me like 3 or 4 times. And because I remember looking at my deck, he was milling my deck, and I was looking at it, and I'm like, okay, I still have 35 cards, but a lot of those are going to be lands. So I think I ended up losing. But I'll be honest, like those kind of decks, like I still get a little salty at, I still get a little irked with, because I don't know. I still like build board and figure stuff out on the board versus I'm just going to nuke you from my hand and you won't even know what happened. Like at least like with the aggro, like body bag, your aggro deck, it was pretty much the synergy, which I think we're seeing that so much more in Magic than we did in Legends. The tribal synergy is just pretty much every card you're playing is buffing up a creature that's already on the board, or it gets a buff because you have something on the board. And so you go from 1/2, a bunch of little 1/2 critters to 3/3s, 4/4s, 5/5s. That's going to get overwhelming. but it's on the board. Like you're seeing it happening and you know how it happened. You're like, okay, if I had mass removal, or if I had a board too, or if I could just hold them off for another 2 turns, then I've got a much bigger body that might do something, but they're still highly effective. And I'm seeing a lot of those kind of decks. There's even a rabbit. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that's another one of those heal decks. This rabbit gets +2. Well, is it the rabbit or there's another one that like gets +1/+1 just by playing another creature, and then there's one gets +1/+1 every time you heal. But yeah, there's a lot. So I do in my deck. There's in red there are like 3 or 4 cards that prevent healing, and one of them is I think it's a 4-cost 4/3, and I run into them in the deck because if you do that, you're nuking half of or pretty much any heal deck that also does not run a ton of removal. Because that's the thing. If you choose not to attack with that guy and they don't have removal, they can't kill him. Like it's like you get to choose your shadow lane, which is another thing. I mean, it's as much as I thought Legends was, crazy cool for having 2 different lanes and a shadow lane and field lane. Magic, you get to choose if you want to be attacked or not. Again, aside from removal or an effect that allows you to, it's a strategic thing. I'm not going to attack. I'm just going to hold on here. Or I'm like, I never really feel good about blocking unless my opponent has like only 1 card in his hand, for the exact same reason that happened with you, Body Bag, darn you, which is if they've got more than 1 card in their hand, chances are they've got some instants in there. And so I think I'm going into an equal trade here, and I'm going to be able to, whittle away. No, he's invincible for this turn, and he's got breakthrough, and he's got trample, he's got all this stuff that he plays on that card after I choose and say I'm going to block it. It's ridiculous. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Gentlemen, I'm going to have to run though. I just realized I got Battletoads coming up in 10 minutes, and I have not eaten anything. I am starving hungry. I've got to pack some food in before I start that, because I guarantee you I'm going to be angry enough playing Battletoads, let alone being hangry. So I got to run. It was a pleasure. I would love to keep talking, but I am up against a hard stop for the 3:00 stream. So I will talk to you gentlemen later, and maybe even see you in Magic the Gathering.